Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dystopia Rising Evolution Wasteland Wanderers, our one shot actual play for Dystopia Rising Evolution's feature month, spotlight month here at the Onyx Path. If you are not yet aware, this is the 10th anniversary of Onyx Path Publishing. So, congratulations to all the folks who've been here from the get go. To celebrate our 10th anniversary, we're featuring a different game line each month. And this month is Dystopia Rising Evolution. So we've had some extra programming regarding it. Well, we have some more coming down the road. So if you missed it in our VODs right now, if you're a subscriber, you can watch a creator roundtable where we talked about the process of bringing this rich, zombie-infested, post-apocalyptic world from live action to a tabletop setting. If and then later on in the month, the schedule should be out probably next week. We'll announce a date. But I'll be getting together with Katie Griffin, who has been involved with LARP for a very long time and is heavily involved with tabletop as well. We'll be discussing a little bit more in depth, kind of her perspective on Dystopia Rising. In the meantime, you can pick up the Dystopia Rising Evolution core book and story guide screen, both on sale for 50% off through our partners over at Studio 2 Publishing. I'll throw the link to that over in the chat right now. And yeah, we're going to dive in and get into some post-apocalyptic zombie survival madness. I love it. I'm looking forward to it. We had a brief talk off camera about our safety tools and no-goes, and we've all agreed that gore is fine. So we're, audience be warned, things might get a little gory. And yeah, speaking of our cast, let's go ahead and introduce everyone. Go ahead and let us know who you are, what you do, who you're playing, please, and your pronouns, if you could. We'll start with Angie, please. Give us your pertinent details.
Hey, I'm Angie, pronouns she, her. By day, I am a brand designer at a tech company. By night, I am a geek and gamer and a dice maker. I make handmade resin dice at the Dicery. And tonight I will be playing Nora Reeds, pronouns also she, her. Nora is an experienced mercenary, and she's got a healthy dash of bloodlust and more than a couple of vices.
Love it. Looking forward to seeing how this pans out. Next up, we have Chaz. Please give us your pertinence.
Hi, so I am Chaz. He, him, they, them work just fine for me. I'm a researcher who studies video games and music and storytelling and kind of how all those things just intersect to make all our great things that much better. Today I'll be playing Shill, a lovable character who many people dislike because, technically works with the black market and sometimes manipulates people. I just think that's just like what you need to survive and live in this post-apocalyptic land.
That's fair. I look forward to seeing what troubles you get yourself into. Next up, we have Jack. Please give us your pertinence.
Hey, everybody. I'm Jack. Pronouns he, him. By day, I work retail, but on my off time, I run games, stream with anybody who will have me pretty much. And today I'll be playing Will or Angel Flores, who is a medic, member of the Devoted, and he's really here to just try and help people survive, stay safe, and live to their greatest potential.
I love it. We'll see how that turns out for him. And last, but most certainly not least, Alex, please give us your pertinence.
Hi, I am Alex, he, him, quasi-professional person who doesn't like talking about his day job because it's kind of lame. But here I will be playing Sky Rhodes, who is a optimistic, wanderlusty explorer, adventurer type who seems to be having way too much fun with the crumbling architecture around him. Yeah, I expect it'll be a pretty good time. I'm trying out this background that seems to be eating me right now, so I might be shutting that off later and y'all can see the dog again. But normally I would have my partner in crime, Baxter, nearby, who is currently staring at us. So we'll involve that later. But yeah, good luck, everyone. And also, Travis,
Yes.
I hate you. That's all.
It's fine. You haven't even started hating me yet.
Getting
All of these characters are drawn from a set of pre-generated characters that's available on DriveThruRPG called Heroes of the Wastes. And that also comes along with some plot hooks. So I figured, why don't we just pull one of those plot hooks, and that's where we're going to start things off. You all have been commissioned to head into the Overgrowth. The rustic and well-known settlement of Boontown is perched on the edge of the wild and tangled overgrowth. With buildings made of rough-hewn wood and reinforced by sheets of metal, Boontown is known as one of the last stopping points before traders and would-be hunters enter the thick woods of the overgrowth, where irradiated creatures lurk around every turn. Within the small town, you can find a small inn to get a room for the night, a bar where you can find some of the strongest hooch this side of America, and traveling through the overgrowth is thirsty work. Recently, word has gone around that caravans bound for the north have been disappearing, and that business that once flowed through the settlement is now slowed to a trickle. The elected head of the town and purveyor of the finest hooch around, Quinn Walker, has commissioned you all to set out into the overgrowth to find out what is causing these traders to disappear. He's planning on meeting, or he had met with you, I should say, at the bar known as the Dead End, bought you all some good drinks, made a introduction to a driver who has a vehicle that is designed to get through the overgrowth, and sent you packing on your way. Before we get into where we are meeting the heroes, I would like to touch base on our aspirations and see if there's anything aside from the equipment on your sheet that you would like to have with you. So let's do this in the reverse order of our introductions. If you could please share with the group Sky's aspirations.
Sky was born to ride. But more than that, he was born to be a tour guide. He would like to, at some point out a landmark to the rest of the party during their travels, during which he may or may not include some exciting trivia regarding its former residents and or its current utilization. He would also like to mention Ford, who is an old friend of his who he hasn't seen in some time, and who was part of his kind of initial forays into the wasteland, who has since kind of put aside his traveling hat, but not me, baby, not me. And long term, I would like, Sky, whomever, wants to become known as one of the most famous explorers of pre-fall ruins.
I love it. And
Famous. Fame.
Famous. I hear it. Maybe you'll have an opportunity. Glory often brings fame, sometimes posthumously.
As far as equipment goes, I do have a rusted out car. I don't know if that's the car that they're talking about or whether it's another car in addition to the other car. So that's something I'm
would
not
you
sure
be trying
about.
to bring your rusted out car with you? This is fine. You would just need to travel behind the car that you're going to be traveling with. Belongs to a lady by the name of Hubcap.
Okay.
And Hubcap has effectively, it's like a pickup truck that has been equipped with a like thresher on the front to allow it to cut down the overgrowth in front of it.
Is Hubcap with the Crimson Cross, like the caravans, or with some other?
Hubcap's just a local diesel jock who happens to have a tendency for a passion, one might say, for converting vehicles for overgrowth use.
Okay. Well, Sky don't ride shotgun, so I will be driving behind the pickup truck, as I do not have the proper front plow to chop through whatever detritus we need to hack through. So I'll go ahead and let Hubcap clear the way, and I'll provide moral support from behind the group. And obviously anybody who wants to ride with me is welcome to do so, assuming that they are armed and don't mind my singing.
Beautiful. And so that brings us then to Will. What are Will's aspirations?
So Will has a tendency to want to keep Shale out of trouble. So that's going to be one priority for our resident medic. Says patch up one of the Ramblers at least once. So keeping an eye on everybody around. He's not under no disillusions that we'll get through this unscathed. So he wants to make sure that he's on hand to patch everybody up, and then has a long-term goal of creating a new and safe, devoted community in the settlement of Old York, which at this point on this journey, we'll probably just be looking out. Then I would assume for resources that might contribute to that goal further down the line, anything that might be usable or helpful in that.
Right, in a sort of in a planning phase.
Yep. As far as supplies and gear goes, any sort of extra medical equipment. I mean, he comes with a fair bit. He's got bandages, healing herbs, stuff for cough and cold, antibiotics, dry rations, that kind of thing. If there's anything else available in Boontown for that he might be able to pick up before we head out into the growth, that would probably be top of his shopping list.
I think it's not going to be so much that you'll be able to pick up something else, but just a sort of extra couple of sets of supplies. So enough of those to deal with multiple injuries. You know that there were about 10 people in this last caravan that took off.
Okay.
So you have probably enough to treat yourselves and 10 others.
Okay,
In
awesome.
the event of one. So yeah, go ahead and make a note of that. What are Shale's aspirations?
So Shale wants to do something shady in front of the party. I think just wants to like open up their view of like what the world really is. Just a little shade toss in there. But like Shale's a good guy. Like he also wants to do something behind the party's back, but that helps them though. Like I don't have to like let everyone know everything that's happening in my mind. Like we can't keep up with that. We'll never get anything done. And then for long term, I want to become the head of the Old York black market. I mean, the black market's fine. It could be better, and I can make it better. So
Right, and
that's
you want that prestige, that high level.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I'll just be the one at the head of it, and then I'll be fine.
Beautiful, I love it. And then what are Nora's aspirations? And Shale, is there any other gear that you wanted to bring?
I mean, I got my scrap knuckles. Here's the question: is there anything that's akin to a poison, or just like really dirty mud, something that I could feed to someone if I needed to? Not that I actually would ever do that, but
Like a poisonous food?
yeah, a food or something I could put into my hooch and just kind of slip it to somebody.
Sure, yeah, I'll give you a dose of poison. We'll say you've got some strychnine that you've gotten your hands on. So enough to dose, enough to put down a sizable adult human.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. And then that brings us to Nora. Nora, do you have any what aspirations do you have? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Nora's inner guardian protector would lead her to love to defend her party against an outside threat of some sort. She can also be just a bit of a hot-headed person, so it would enliven her very much to get into some kind of a fight, and that can be either verbal or physical. So that'll be exciting. And Nora's also kind of recently resolved to try and create her own mercenary group. She's been feeling like she can only get so far as a lone wolf, so to speak. So that's her long-term aspiration. And as far as equipment goes, she looks pretty set. Looks like I've got some basic rations, my flask of hooch, and I've got a machete, a scrap shooter, and a smoke grenade as well. So I think she probably feels pretty set and comfortable with that.
Beautiful. And just in terms of division of where people are at vehicles wise, who's all going to be riding with hubcap? Who's all going to be riding with Guy?
Where's Angel
Is
riding?
hubcap's pickup Well, because Angel would probably try and ride in the bed if it's open,
Okay.
so that he gets he's got visual on both cabs more or less at the same time if possible, especially if Sky's right on our bumper.
Yeah, it's an open top. There are sort of like sheet metal plates that come up from the sides that have eye slits in them.
Okay.
And then the back has one as well that can be popped up.
Okay.
And those eye slits are big enough to put a gun through or a crossbow through or something.
Shoot from cover, kind of basic barricade. Okay.
The top
Yeah, no,
is open on it, which isn't necessarily the most comforting thing in the overgrowth, but
right. Right. Okay. Yeah. He'll basically try and scrounge up like some burlap sacks or anything that would make it so that it's not just bouncing my butt on a hard corrugated plastic truck bed.
Sure.
Personal experience notwithstanding.
You got like a bed pack, like a bed roll and whatnot.
Yeah, just something to cushion to sit on, and then he'll ride in the bed and just try and keep an eye out around as much as possible.
Okay, so is that going to put Shale in the bed as well? Is Shale going to be in the cab? Shale going to be?
Oh, she'll go in Sky.
Okay. All right, cool. And then so where's Nora going to ride?
Yeah, I think I'll take a shotgun with hubcap if that's open.
Excellent. Yeah, very much so. So you take off early, partially because, traveling in the overgrowth is bad enough. Traveling in the overgrowth at night, nobody's favorite thing in the world. The overgrowth is a region where the plants tend to grow back so quickly that it's basically impossible to set up permanent routes through it. There have been attempts in the past to basically like deforest a path while laying down fresh like pavement, trying to get it down fast enough to keep the growth from coming through. And the most recent attempt to do that made it about 15 miles in, and then they wound up actually running afoul of a very large rad dragon, and everybody involved in that expedition was eaten. So there's been no further attempts to do that large of an industrialization of late. There are a lot of people that will use things, everything ranging from like this sort of thresher situation that Hubcap has, all the way down to people going through with like motorbikes and just machetes, cutting their own way. That's usually the best way that people get through, but even then they try to avoid traveling through it at night. So you head out probably around 9, 10 in the morning, and the first couple of miles is relatively smooth. Why don't each of you go ahead and give me an integrity cunning roll, just to sort of see what's going on around you, get a basic feel of what's up around you. You may also substitute survival for integrity if you prefer.
I will do that because I don't have any doubts in integrity. Nothing for Will. 667.
Beautiful.
One for Shale.
Success.
Sky got 2.
All right, so we have 1 for Nora, 1 for Shale, 2 for Sky. All right. As you're moving along, Sky, you clock. You're probably going at about 20 mile an hour. That Thresher's not going to be able to go much faster than that. And so, the leaves are going by at a pretty good clip. And you clock some movement out of the corner of your eye over to the west.
Okay. Well, I will probably abruptly cut the volume of my since I'm assuming I don't have like a radio or even like a tape deck or anything like that. I just kind of like turn the static on and I sing. Okay. So I will definitely lower my current rendition of Welcome to the Jungle and kind of very slowly pan over that area. The car will slow down a bit as well. while I take a bit of a gander.
Good. You start slowing down to look, and Shale, you sort of you catch that something over that direction is pulling Sky's attention. And as you both sort of start to look, but you also notice, Shale, that the truck in front of you, Hubcap's truck, is coming to a relatively sudden stop. Now, Nora, you notice this in time to be able to kind of either brace yourself or go loose, and in time to shout a warning. But you see in the sort of trees and the brush and the foliage in front of you, you see what looks like a railroad spike sticking out of one of the trunks of a tree that's like directly in front of you. And just as you sort of shout that warning, you all hear this like gut-wrenching, like metal pulling, horrible grinding sound, as not only does the thresher come to an immediate stop and start smoking, but in fact the truck sort of hits and like stops. So I'm going to need a piloting drive check out of
It's piloting, sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
out of our friend Sky there to make sure you don't rear end this truck in front of you.
Oh, okay.
And for those of you who did not get any successes on your noticing roll and are sitting unstrapped in the back of a vehicle,
Yeah.
I would like an athletics roll with your choice of, I would say that would probably either be might or dexterity, most likely.
Okay. If you don't have any dots, does it increase the difficulty or?
No, not at all. Just means you have
Okay,
less dice.
just okay. Well, I've got 4 decks, so I'll take that. 6, 4, 10, 10,
Excellent.
which explode into nothing. So just 2 successes.
Beautiful. All right, that is sufficient though. You're able to like grab the top and like, whoa. And how many did you get on your pilot roll there?
Just a second. So we're at 3 plus 2 plus 2. So 5.
Excellent. You stop on a dime, no issues there, no worries whatsoever, and in fact managed to like follow along effectively with the grooves that the truck has worked in, so you're not further damaging your car at all. You're not like hitting anything else, and you can see clearly as you're slowing down this sort of scattered debris on the ground in front of you. Hubcap gets out, takes her hat off, slaps the front of the truck. What in the holy hell?
I will well, you said we saw movement first, right?
You did, yeah.
Okay. I will lean my head out the driver's side window. Hey, there's something out here. You might wanna get back inside, and I'll point in the direction.
There's a whole lot of somethings out here, but all right. She hops in the car and shuts the door.
I will look over at is it Shale? Is that who's riding with me?
Mhm.
I will so I probably never actually try to look at Shale in the eyes because I'll avoid them. So I will side eye Shale.
I'm used to it, yeah.
Do you see that out there?
Not really. I mean, you were getting to the good part, so I was kind of distracted. But I know I heard a thing or saw at the corner of my eye, maybe.
That's my understanding. So I'm just curious. It's my understanding that Shale is pretty quiet, right?
Not really. He talks a lot, but like most of the time,
I mean, like sneaky. Is he sneaky?
yeah,
How sneaky is he?
kind of sneaky, more like manipulative
Okay.
type thing.
Well, if we're gonna try to get this thing repaired, we should probably cover the driver. I don't have a gun.
While that conversation is happening, what's going on in the truck?
So I like to think that it's one of those with like the little slide rear view
Absolutely.
panel. Right. Yeah. So that just slides open and Will's head comes into the cabin.
You're like,
But probably
you're like
between.
in a gun rack, basically.
Okay. Okay. Hey, what the heck happened?
We hit something that chewed up the front. I need to get out and take a look at it, but they said they saw something outside.
I've got your back if you want to take a look.
That'd be great. She pops the door and hops out. Where are you going from the passenger seat?
So I'll go ahead and I'm gonna hop out of the passenger seat. I'm actually gonna is she going around to like the front of the car?
Yeah, she's going to take a look at the actual thresher.
Okay, so I'll like kind of literally cover her back, kind of follow her to the front of the car and just keep an eye out, like a 360 kind of eye out around her.
Sure. Why don't you go ahead and give me, let's have you do a integrity cunning or survival cunning, whichever is better for you. And
go
as
ahead.
they're starting to make that look around, are you doing anything from the back there, Will, or are you just
Will is basically just trying to keep his ears open because his suspicion is somebody is going to come see what they slowed down because he's scared of raiders. So
That's fair.
he's listening, and if anything happens, he'll be popping a head out just to see what he can do to help.
I will nudge. I'll nudge Shale and kind of gesture out in that direction, and I will start moving the car. How big is this like path that we've cut? Is it?
It's literally just the width of the truck.
Okay,
Like
so
there's nowhere to go but backward. And as you look back, you can already see like sprouts coming up on the ground behind you.
sure. So I feel like I'm a pretty adept parallel parker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to maneuver my car so that instead of pointing directly at the truck, I'm going to like tee myself off so I can put the front of my car in the direction of the stuff we saw moving.
Okay.
And I'm going to flip my lights on so I can get a better view over there.
Sure. Go ahead and just give me a pilot roll. I'm going to give you a complication of 2 because the terrain is not conducive to driving on. And how many successes did you get on your roll, Nora?
2 10s.
Oh, beautiful. And I may be misremembering this, but I believe your 10s do explode.
I forgot about that.
We got 4 on our 3-point turn.
Okay, so no more successes out of that.
Okay.
Just the 2.
Still got the 2 though. So as you're looking around, you clock a couple of things. All right, you can see that the entire area ahead of you, parallel to you on both sides, probably about in about a 20-foot wide strip, everything's been spiked, like railroad spikes driven through all of this foliage at varying heights. You also notice that it looks like something probably just ahead of where you stopped. You can see that the foliage is not nearly as thick for a spot that's probably about 10 feet wide going deep into the west. Like something had gone through there recently and there's been time for the regrowth to hit. So those are the 2 things that you note. You do not note any immediate movement. With your 3-point turn, you are able to do so without damaging your vehicle. And you turn the lights on. It doesn't really help much, honestly. I mean, it is daylight right now, but nothing jumps out at you when you turn those lights on. Is like, oh, there's a person there.
Well, I also wanted to be able to like turn around if I needed to, if I need to start crashing through the underbrush, overgrowth, whatever the hell we
You
are.
theoretically can.
Okay.
And while that is all happening, was there something else that Will was doing while they're kind of looking around?
He's just trying to kind of occasionally pop his head up and scout the surrounding environment, just keeping an eye out.
And did you make a survival?
But I
integrity
don't
roll?
know that. So what you said, it was cunning and survival.
Yes.
Survival and cunning. Okay. Nope. No, he's still having a hard time. He's used to more civilized areas, dense
Right.
foliage. He's still trying to pick things out. It's all just a wall to him.
That is fair.
Civilized dystopia.
Right.
And, Hubcap kicks the thresher and says, "All right, we got a problem. I got broken blades here. I got ground up gears here.
Shit.
This sucker ain't moving unless we can get some spare parts. I'm gonna need some metal. I'm gonna need, if we don't have, I either need a blowtorch or some or gears.
Nora's gonna shout back at the truck behind and just kind of ask, "Hey, anybody got a blowtorch on hand?"
She Hubcap sort of like pats you on the shoulder and says, "Hey, let's keep the shouting to."
Got it.
What'd you say?
She like leans over and goes,
What'd you say?
Something about a horse or something. We don't.
A blowhorse?
Who has a blowhorse?
What the hell's a blowhorse?
I don't know.
Pop the trunk, see if there's a blowhorse in there.
I guess I'll check.
Yes.
Isn't so this is story path, right? Aren't there like things we can do to make things happen? I always forget how to do this.
yes. So you have momentum, and you start with momentum equal to the number of people in your party.
Okay, so we have 4.
And you gained a momentum when the Thresher gained the broken condition.
Good, nice. Thanks, Thresher. Way to look out.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Appreciate that.
So she says to Nora, she says, if I can get the parts together, I should be able to fix this thing up relatively easily. And I think if we hold still-ish, we probably won't draw too many Zed, but I need parts. And is that what the hell? She like bends down and picks up a railroad spike. What the hell?
Yeah, I noticed a bit of that over in that direction. We may have a bit of a problem. I'm keeping an eye over there, though.
Will pops his head up over the cab. Do we need to go scrounging?
Yeah, if you could find me metal, something that I could cobble together a blowtorch with, or a blowtorch would be great.
Speaking of, you didn't answer my question.
What was the question?
Do you have a blowhorse in the trunk? Was that the
No,
question?
well, it was more like what I don't remember. I know I have momentum. I don't remember what I can use it for. I can make things. I can say like there's something in the trunk, right? Something.
I don't believe there is like a traditional, like as you're accustomed to with Trinity, dramatic editing in here.
Oh, really? Okay, so that's not a thing in
It's
here?
more for activating your abilities and for getting extra dice.
Okay, so
You're not a talent, unfortunately.
No, that's fine. I will get out of the car and kind of look over it, and I'll pace around it once and be like, okay, hey, Hubcat,
Yeah.
if you took the paneling off the passenger side door, the rear panel on the driver's side, and maybe the hood. Well, no, leave the hood. I wouldn't mind a convertible for a little while. So you could probably shave off some of this here. Would that be enough for you?
I mean, metal-wise, probably. I got 2 worries about pulling anything off the front of this thing. Is if we lose any of the paneling, random piece of growth is going to do the same thing to this engine that these spikes did. Who leaves railroad spikes laying around? She tosses.
I mean, I don't know. Is that like a calling card? Is there like a culture or a lore role? Maybe
You can make
something like that.
a culture or lore. Either one's fine.
I will contemplate the nature of railroad spikes in all of my travels. Because that seems awfully consistent.
Are you relying on culture or lore?
Lore.
Excellent. Go ahead and give me a roll.
That would be 2. Oh, wait. Maybe more. We'll see.
Yeah.
3.
Beautiful. So you recall a story of the time before the fall when a group called the Peaceful of the Green were fighting against what the technological monstrosities that some religions blame for the fall. And in their battle against these technological monstrosities, they would periodically take railroad spikes and other pieces of metal and drive them into trees so that when people tried to chop them down with chainsaws, those people would become horrendously injured and the chainsaws would be broken.
Okay. I will kind of, take my hat off and wipe my forehead. Well, back before the fall, there were a bunch of really pissed off hippies in the woods that would shove metal into trees so people can cut them down. And maybe these were just leftover. Or maybe someone's borrowing their tactics.
Who and why? Why would you do that? Especially out here.
I don't know, to trap passers through. I mean, I don't know who's coming through here. Is this even a trail? Are there trails out here? Does this count as a trail?
I mean, kind of, sort of. Supposedly, if you dig down far enough, you hit the I-90.
Yeah.
I guess that's true. Well, either way.
So this
had
is
to
a
put them
trap,
there.
is what you're saying.
It either was a trap or it is a trap. It's a trap no matter what. Just whether or not whoever put it there is actively watching for it is kind of up in the air, I guess.
Well, we haven't been jumped yet, so I can't imagine anybody's actively watching for it.
Let's make some repair noises and see what happens. I hand her my pry bar. Go.
It's all well and good, but I ain't getting nowhere if I don't have a torch or something close to it.
Now, question is the growth thin enough that you can get through it on foot, or would you need to actively cut a trail through it that way as well?
You'd need to cut, but it would be like with a machete as opposed to
Okay.
like you can go through it as if you're going through dense jungle.
Okay.
And I would like to just remind Nora, you did see that you do clearly see an area that's slightly less dense that looks like it's grown less more recently, I should say.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and point that out to the group. So how do we want to handle this situation? Do we want a couple of us to venture out?
I'm gonna get bored in this car anyway.
Well, so here, the only concern I really have is, and I mean, not to be a downer about this whole situation, but if we leave Hubcap here repairing things, or we go venturing off looking for a blowhorse, I don't, if we come back and she's been eaten or dismembered or converted into some sort of walking dead, I think that none of those things would prove really conducive to our efforts. It sounds like a trap.
Hubcap says, "Listen, I've got reason and persuasion over there on the gun rack. Now, I am more than happy to hunker down here, lock my doors, set those two beautiful ladies on my lap, and take a nap until you get back."
Somebody's got to watch the cars, I guess. If we go out there anyway.
Well, if you don't, I don't see how we're going much anywhere.
I mean, I could live here. It's pretty scenic, right?
Yeah,
Let's do
I
it.
couldn't do that. I think we should go look for parts.
Always someone. All right, I go get my my running pack and everything and get myself situated.
All right.
My grappling hook, my lantern, all my adventure, probably whistling a little bit. Not too loud because we were asked to be quiet, but I kind of can't help it because we're adventuring.
Glorious. So as you're heading out that way, since you noticed the trail, Nora, are you going to sort of take point on that, or
Yeah. I'll go on ahead.
why don't you go ahead and just give me a survival, and I'm going to go ahead and assign a complication of 3 to that check, and the reason being is trying to get through without making undue noise, which would normally be complication 2, but you have a idiot whistling with you. So that's going to be
Quietly.
So go ahead and just give me a survival check. What approach would you like to take with that survival check? Is that going to be a force, finesse, or resilience?
Let's go with. Let's do. So this is more of a like making my way through the path thing, or is this more of
your way
a
through the
okay?
underbrush while keeping track of like where those slightly less dense growths are?
Okay. Well, considering I've got my big ass machete with me, I'm gonna kind of be like, it's a little bit paved through already, but I'm gonna kind of be like clearing the path even more for us as we're making through. So I'll go ahead and say force with that.
All right, so go ahead and give me a might and survival, and you may add the enhancement from your machete to it.
Are we allowed to assist in this?
Sure. How would you like to go about doing so?
Sure. So as she's kind of
Besides
chopping
whistling,
through,
which is assisting with the complication.
sure, that's fine. That's fine. I will, while she's kind of moving forward, chopping and doing that, I will, while still quietly listening to myself, pay very, very close attention to the ground, the area that we're moving into, and I will do my best to point out our, I guess our footfalls, like the places where we need to be standing so as not to fall over, trip, stumble, what have you.
So you can go ahead.
So I'll
and
be
make
taking a finesse approach
and,
behind the brute force.
make a cunning survival roll as well, and then your roll results will act as enhancement or detriment to Nora's.
Sure.
And when okay, so you said I can add something about my machete to that. How does
Yes.
that work?
The machete has an enhancement rating. Is that correct?
Let's see. I'm looking here. Oh, well,
It'll say like plus number E.
oh, I see it. Okay, so +2.
Yep.
+2E.
Yep. So the way enhancements will function then is any material success you get, those enhancements count as extra successes.
So as long as you get 1 success, you'd actually have 3 because of the +2. Okay, cool.
Right. But
Oh,
they don't
okay.
count if you don't get a success on the dice.
Okay.
Okay. I got 2 8s and a 10. I'm going to re-roll that 10.
Beautiful.
Okay, so that's just the 2 8s, and then I've got the +2 enhancement from machete.
And the 10 still counts even if it doesn't. So you got 3 plus the 2 from your machete.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So that's 5 total. What did you get over there?
So
Sky?
I got 3 plus 1 from direction sense because I get +1 enhancement to any action related to navigating or plotting a course.
Beautiful. As you're making your way through, a couple things. One, you do manage to avoid drawing any undue attention from any of the wildlife or any other things that might be out in the overgrowth. But as you're first starting off on that trail, you notice some spent shell casings on the ground. And you're able to put together, based on the amount of shell casings you're seeing, It looks like there was a gunfight here that had upwards of 10 participants in it in relatively recent memory. Like
Was that Sky that noticed that?
As you're first leaving, you notice the Sky will probably notice the casings, and then as you're working together, sort of looking at it, you all kind of notice like, oh, there's a lot of bullets here. This looks like, there's different bullets. There's, looks like a big fight went down. So kind of the idea being that one of you points it out to the other, and the rest of you sort of are all working together.
All right, some shit definitely went down here.
Might be the first caravan, their most recent caravan that came through here.
I will take a look around and see if I can tell whether this was some sort of like, did it look like there were two groups? I mean, I know that with the overgrowth, it's really hard to do any sort of like tracking or really seeing like what's going on here. But if there's any way I can tell either how big it was or like how many forces were at play here, like did two groups converge here, or was it just like
as near as you can tell, there were a total of 10, maybe a dozen combatants involved. You can't really tell like which like sides. You can just tell by like different weapons you're counting. Alternatively, it might have been two people that were both armed to the teeth and had to go through several rounds of ammunition.
There was a firefight.
So yeah, either there was a large mob shooting at one another, or like Neo and an agent went at it.
Right. All the guns.
Yeah.
How's Shale reacting to this?
He's feigning ignorance. Like, even though y'all are pointing out, he's just like, no, I'm just not looking at it. Just gonna keep walking.
Okay.
All right. You continue along your way. The trail goes on for probably about 1.5 miles. And you come up to an area where it sort of crests up a hill a little bit. And as you get up to the top of the hill, you see a clearing. Looks like it's probably the size of like a high school football stadium, give or take. And from the top, you can see there's makeshift walls about 8 feet high surrounding this clearing. And those makeshift walls seem to be made from various like car hoods, car roofs, bits of scrap metal that have been fused together, things along those lines. There is like a chain link door that pretty much this trail looks to lead almost right up to. And that is very heavily bound with chains. Past that, you can see a little bit what looks like, well, actually, you're kind of looking top down. So you can see rooftops. You can see what looks like maybe there's like a bit of a town square kind of area. And you see a couple of what look like X-shaped crosses in that town square area that seem to be cobbled together from metal as well. And they stand about, you're guessing, probably 9-10 feet high.
Culture is basically the skill for knowing about local customs and movements and things like that, right?
Absolutely.
Can Will make a roll and see if he's heard of anybody using that sort of open public symbolism before, or if it's for something a little more practical?
Absolutely, yes. Please go ahead and give me a culture and intellect
Okay.
roll.
While Will is doing that,
Dice.
so Nora's parents are essentially like gator hunters out in the overgrowth. Is there anything maybe I can roll to see if I've heard of any type of a civilization that they may have encountered out in the overgrowth?
It would still, that would fall under culture as well. You can certainly make a culture roll as well. culture and intellect.
8, 9, 9, 10. 4
Oh.
for Will.
Beautiful. Did you reroll that 10?
Yeah, nothing. No joy on that one.
Awesome. Let's see what Nora winds up with real quick.
It's a big old 1 die for me. Nope, nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
Since they're kind of thinking about things from the like relevant culture perspective, I'm actually considering whether or not this area and where that place is it a new installation, or is it a repurposed thing that was already there? Like, what was here before?
Give me a technology roll with intellect or cunning. And while you're rolling that with your culture roll, Will, you're not 100% sure because the stories about thrill killers are so varied and unusual, but there are rumors of a group of raiders throughout the wasteland that go through most of the year just living normal, rustic, rural lives. They farm, they trade, they make clothing and eat food and have family gatherings, and everything is good and wonderful. And then from the time of the autumn equinox until the winter solstice, every night they turn into bloodthirsty cannibalistic raiders who ritualistically dismember and devour anyone that they get their hands on.
So as this occurs to Will, he just sort of reaches a hand out to Shale's shoulder and very gradually starts to sink a little lower behind the hill that we're coming up on.
I didn't do it. What happened?
Lovely. And what did you get?
I got 3, by the way.
So you notice an interesting thing about this installation. You're almost certain that this is new construction, and one of the things that that gives you that indication is that not only where you can see the ground, like most of it, you're seeing like the tops of these crosses, you're seeing the tops of roofs kind of over that wall, right? But as you look down, you thought maybe you were just seeing other walls or other buildings, but you realize there's a flat plate of sheet scrap across the entire surface of this place.
They paved it, but with steel.
Right. So like they built, yeah. So like they built like this entire settlement is coated in metal so that presumably to keep the overgrowth from growing over it.
You know, this is a pretty sophisticated place considering they were able to wall off all the overgrowth. By how big do I think this place is? Like that, it would take a huge amount of resources to build the walls and the fences, and all this had to be brought here. Like, these people are pretty dedicated, whoever they are. I'm saying all this. But considering that, there's probably a pretty good chance they have what we need.
Dedicated to murdering people, probably.
Oh, everybody's not murderous, are they?
We can't just assume they're murderers just because they're also cannibals.
Wait,
That's
who
not
said they're
fair.
cannibals? They're cannibals?
You see those crosses down there? Haven't you,
Sure, yeah.
do you not know about the seasonal raider fall murder celebration?
You know, I just go to Burning Man.
Burning Man is a lot more literal of a term here for these people, I
Oh, you
think.
mean like for them it's Cooking Man. Got it.
Like, I don't know.
But
I'm getting a Halloween Town vibe off
You
of
hear-
this is what I'm...
From down in the city. Ah! Ah! And then you hear like heavy footsteps on metal. And another voice go, and then like thumping sounds.
Could be anything.
And then it just goes
that could be a
quiet.
happy sound, yeah.
I mean, you know, look, I'm not one to pass judgment on the way people choose to live their lives. You know, live and let eat.
Should we be standing here?
We don't have to. We could move.
We
I
could
was
send the
following.
creepy kid down there.
I was following you. Wait, which one's the creepy kid?
Hey, Shale.
Now I gotta get pissed.
He's not that creepy.
I mean, he's kind of creepy. I knew who she was talking about. I just didn't want to say anything.
I feel like y'all are the creepy ones. I'm not the one trudging through the jungle, making all this noise. I'm not the one driving this big car, destroying the environment. I'm just living my life.
Well, okay, hear me out. So you're kind of tiny. You look like you might be able to sneak around a little bit. I mean, I could go down there, but I'll be honest with you, I'll probably blow our cover.
You shouldn't go down there because you just call everybody creepy and then they'll just hate us all of a sudden. You know, I'll go down there and maybe we can make some friends instead of just being like, y'all are creepy, give us your shit.
I will happily go down and talk to our pay a visit to our new potential. Maybe these people can be helpful.
You just gonna go knock on the front door?
Do I have a choice? I'm gonna go in and try to take some stuff from these people. They paved the overgrowth. They clearly mean business here and are pretty protective of the stuff they have.
All right. I mean, that's a terrible, horrible idea, but let's see what happens.
Look, if we don't open our hearts a little bit, I granted there is the threat of them being eaten.
I was going to say they might want to open your heart, like literally.
You just need one big enough to share. Okay, I will tighten up my pack. Do we have anything to offer for barter?
We can offer them will.
I'm going to charitably assume that you meant my services in case anybody is injured. I will patch them up
Of
in
course.
trade for. Okay,
There
good.
you go.
Good.
See?
Good. Good.
That's thinking
good.
with your head
So,
and not your thigh meat.
I don't even know how to respond to that. Okay.
So you're walking up toward this gate.
I am, yeah.
He
I'm
is.
Are the two
And I
of
will-
you
I will
hanging
kind
back
of-
then?
I will
So
woefully
Nora,
look
you
over
and I
my
are going
shoulder.
to stay back here, right?
I'll go with Sky.
Oh, okay. All right. We're all going.
Guns blazing. Let's do it.
Okay.
So
Shale, just try to not attract too much notice and at least we have one person in the. You're good at being quiet and getting things done around the edges. That's all I'm saying.
Great
man.
at talking to people. People
Okay,
just
you
don't
also
like
are.
me after
you also
I finish
are-
talking with them.
Okay, all right. You do you, I guess.
as you're walking up to this open gateway, like I said, it's kind of walled off except for the chain link gate, and there is growth kind of already starting to climb up the chain link gate, but you can still see through it easily. You notice a complete absence of anyone like standing guard, and then you notice a complete absence of like anyone. There's light, like lanterns burning maybe inside of these houses coming out the windows. And you can sort of see, maybe through a window, you see like a silhouette of a sort of heavyset person, like unfolding what looks like maybe a full body suit of some kind, and putting it on, things along those lines. But you don't see anyone out there until, as you're sort of lining up with it, you do see like one of the crosses. So there's 4 crosses around kind of a central fire pit. And one of these crosses, you see a person sort of chained, arms and legs, arms and one leg wide open. Their one leg is completely missing. And why don't each of you go ahead and give me just we'll say a medicine cunning roll, if you don't mind.
I will do that.
Big
That's
bag
a
goose
0.
egg for me. we don't do the medicine.
Yeah.
Eight, 10, 8. So
Excellent.
three for Will.
Well, you notice 2 things. One,
Mhm.
that person is definitely unconscious from what appears to be recent repeated blunt trauma to the face.
Okay.
So you're assuming that was the crunching noise that you heard?
Yeah. Boom, boom, boom.
Secondly, you found the leg. It is on a spit over that fire pit.
Right. Yep. Is the stump bandaged at all, or did they just cut it out and let it bleed?
It's free bleeding right now.
Okay. So he's probably 30 seconds from dead at this point.
Most likely, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I would like to point out a couple salient details at the moment, if everybody would be willing to listen to the medical expert. That guy got the shit beat out of him, and they're gonna eat that leg that they cut off his body.
What did that guy do? Like, maybe that guy's a jerk.
I realize that you like to judge things on context, but sometimes context is a secondary priority to the... Okay. I just want to let the leadership of our little quartet know.
Duly noted.
All I have to say is
Y'all are remarkably calm.
Maybe that means that, they're not going to be hungry by the time we talk to them. And I know I don't like making deals when I'm hangry.
Sky, you've got a phenomenal ability to look on the positive side of things.
Hello.
All right, that's the direction we're going. You see the person who, Nora particularly, like you caught this out of your eye. So you see the person like start pulling their clothes, whatever they're putting on, like very, very rapidly as they stumble toward the door of their hut. And you see a guy come walking out. He's probably about 6'6" both ways, like pulling on his woman suit.
It's a lot of
and by that I mean
Excellent.
like there's like stitched together pieces of mostly what appears to be female human flesh, and like pulling his like a leather mask up over his face as he comes walking out. He's holding a meat tenderizer in his hand.
I continue trying to smile.
I feel like Nora has something to say.
I'm just gonna look at Sky and be like, bro, that was so not cool.
I walk toward the gate. Afternoon.
He walks over and like hits the chain on the gate, and the chain unfurls, gate swings open, and you see probably a dozen more people come out. Most of them are just wearing like farm, like kind of what you'd expect a farmer to wear, right? You do see like one of them has a face mask on, like they're literally wearing someone else's face. One of them has on a pair of like she's got on like an evening dress, but you see that she's got like someone else's arms on as like elbow length like gloves. And,
are they at least the same person, or are they mismatched?
They appear that they're probably pulled from people who spent different amounts of time in the sun.
Gotcha.
And at first you think maybe she's got on a pearl necklace, but you realize that's not pearls, those are eyes.
Perfectly waste of eyes.
Afternoon. Sky Roads, Crimson Cross Caravan Explorer, just coming through here. Hopefully we're catching you at a really good time. Sorry to interrupt what looks like a late lunch, but we were just hoping we could maybe talk to you about acquiring some things to assist in our travels if we run into a bit of a snag.
Okay, so I would like you to take whatever skill you're planning on using in this violence that's about to break out.
Yep.
And your cunning, and roll that.
As Will is like very slowly reaching for his pistols. Yeah.
I'm not a particularly violent man. So I would like to, can I opt to use athletics because I'm not going to be anywhere near something that's going to hit me?
Sure.
That's my plan. My weapon is not being there. I follow the Bruce Lee principle of like, there you go.
This is a scale 3 horde of thrill killers.
High number.
Funky.
That's a lot of people.
So as you are scale 1, they get 4 automatic success, 4 enhancement, I should say. But they are distant back and not doing great, so they didn't do so hot on initiative. How many successes did you get? Let's start with Nora.
Oops, sorry. What was I supposed to roll?
It would be whatever skill you're planning on using and cunning.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought that was just Sky.
No, that's
One
everybody.
moment.
Violence is about to ensue.
So did we like totally like, are we getting the vibe that we just like walked into the TPK, just like walk right up to it?
I mean, it's a horde of cannibals. They all do seem to be armed. They all do seem to be armed with like meat tenderizers. One of them has like a pair of what looks to be like tongs for like barbecuing. They're just various like kitchen implements. None of them do appear to be carrying a firearm, so you got that going for you.
Very nice. That was 1 success for me.
Excellent. And what did you get, Shale?
4.
Excellent. What did you get, Sky?
We got 5 because we fast as fuck, boy.
Yeah. 2.
Excellent. So that means that Shale and Sky will both have an opportunity to act prior to the thrill killers, who are all closing in on you.
So they don't look interested in engaging in conversation at all, do they?
No. And in fact, you're not even sure that many of them don't appear to have the capacity for language at the moment. Partially, whether it be because they're wearing somebody else's face and that's going to get in the way of them talking, or, one of them is definitely chewing on some piece of raw meat.
I mean, that was the problem. We came in during dinner time.
Nobody's
Should've
happy
waited
when you
until
interrupt a
dessert.
meal.
Yeah.
So Sky,
I thought
what would
maybe
you
we
like to
could
do?
talk over a cooked leg. Okay, so they're coming at us. I realize that I put us in a very precarious situation. So I am going to do my best to give my friends an opportunity to act accordingly and prepare themselves because they have guns and all sorts of other accoutrements to handle situations like this. So I will sigh and I will pull the straps of my backpack. They're hungry. Everybody loves to chase food. I will look at Nora and I will say, I'm sorry. And I'm going to run at them.
You dumb mother.
But I'm not running at them I'm not charging them. I'm going to bait them.
Okay.
So I'm going to play keep away with my sweet ass.
All right. Give me an athletics, and are you relying on finesse?
Oh yeah.
Right, so give me an athletics
We're doing
dexterity
everything we
roll,
can
please.
to be as sharp as possible. And momentum works the same way in this game then, right? So
Yes. So
I
as
may
long
be
as
asking for
everybody's cool with
rerolls if it's okay with people. I would like to borrow, what is it for rerolls? Is it 2 or 1?
it. One
Okay.
1 for 1, and you currently have 5 momentum.
Yeah. So do you all mind if I borrow a momentum so that I can make sure I get the most out of this roll?
Go for it.
Go
Do
for
it.
it.
I figure if I can give you their backs and asses, you can shoot them and stab them. That is okay. Oh, sorry, I hit the aberrant button. That was an accident. I target numbers 8, not 7.
It's like, whoa, how did I get Megamite?
That's 7 successes though.
Nice.
Okay, nice. Not bad. Not bad at all. Oh, you're so lucky. All right. So,
Oh wait, does natural athlete apply here? I feel like it does, doesn't it?
what does natural athlete give you?
Okay, hold on. So first it says, so at 1, your character can race past or through obstacles, seldom medium to slow. Your character reduces complication, difficulty modifier, moving at top speed with athletics, fleeing pursuit, chasing another character, racing to a goal, and so on. By 1, if they face multiple complications, each of them receive the discount separately. Okay. 2 is flow. Your character is not merely an expert runner, but is skilled with all forms of movement. You can add his dots on this edge as enhancement to all athletics rolls. So yes, so that's 9.
All right. Excellent.
I will begin free running in their place.
Beautiful. So you can tie up, I would say you can probably reduce the effective scale of the horde by 1 as you are tying up so many of them until such time as one of them either hits you or you leave or the scale is reduced by some other means.
Like them dying?
Right.
All right. I'm going to check one other thing because this guy's got a bunch of just these physical edges. I've never looked at this before. What does... Okay, and just so you know, in case there's weird stuff here, I have balance step 2. So in case there's like weird pitfalls or traps or whatever the hell they have in here.
No, this place seems to be relatively safe, in fact.
This seems well too put together for cannibal crazies, but that's fine.
And as you're sort of,
you know,
they only go cannibal like
9 months out of the year. They're expert metal workers, right?
Think of it like the Purge.
Right. Yeah.
So as you're running around, you definitely get like through them enough and around them enough that you see that all of these crosses are occupied. And the people are in various states of unconsciousness and wound, but only the person who's got a leg off looks like they're in like any immediate, like that person's going to die. But yeah, you've managed to reduce the effective scale of the horde by 1.
That's my action. That's all I got for you.
Happens. Shale, what do you got?
From here, where would I have some sort of blow horse type thing? Like, can I see where they would keep their like equipment? Or is it too far out?
You can very clearly see like a garage that's got like, there's like a set of like work tools. There's like a grinder in there. There's like, it looks like a diesel jock's garage over there.
So then I'm just going to yell out, Sky, how could you do that? Oh my, and slowly start backing my way towards the garage. And if anyone sees me, I'm just going to book it. Because I also have natural athlete and Swift.
All right, and Swift gives you scale when you're running. So you haul ass over there and are in that garage away from any of the horde at this point. So the horde is going to continue trying...
Travis, I didn't realize I have hair trigger reflexes, so my effective initiative is 3.
Beautiful. That will also put you before them. So
okay, cool.
What would you like to do?
So Sky has headed off and Shale has headed off.
Yes.
Best team.
So far, Shale doesn't seem to have drawn any attention from
attention whatsoever. Knowing that Nora is our best fighter, are they even remotely within range of a pistol at this point?
Oh, with a pistol, absolutely. Yeah, they're getting close enough that you can shoot.
He'll honestly try and keep their attention on her, and he's figuring that he's probably going to have to patch her up before anybody else anyway. So yeah, he'll kind of hold his ground, but try and be behind Nora. And yeah, he'll just open up on whoever's closest.
All right. Are you going to fire at the horde? Another thing you could do is lay down like suppressive fire. That is an option you can try as well. Where you're effectively just adding complications to them.
Yeah, actually, he would totally if he can make any of them dive for cover or make them think twice. Yeah, absolutely.
So what you would do then is go ahead and make a firearms roll. You can add either your finesse or I would assume it would be Dex probably, or Cunning perhaps.
Yeah, he'll definitely go. He'll definitely go Dex and firearms for this one if he can.
And you basically can spend a success. Every success you get, you can spend to create a complication for the horde. That if they don't buy off that complication, they take an injury.
Okay. Well, I rolled a lot of things 4 and below, but I got 2 successes. So yeah, I'll add 2 complications to them.
Excellent.
For that. Yeah, he's just pop, 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 pop as much as he can to try and make him think twice.
Excellent. They walk right into the firearms.
Okay.
And don't seem particularly concerned about it as they start trying to beat Nora silly with their various implements of violence. Nora, what would you like to do defensively? Since you have not acted yet, you may take a full defense where you would roll like double your resilience attribute that you'd like to rely on. You can also just try to basically take the hit and just roll your stamina.
So if I take a defensive move, does that detract from what I can do on my turn?
Yes, though you can split your dice pool. So effectively, what you could do is like let's say you wanted to go full defense. You would take, let's say you're going to use stamina. You take your stamina, you double that, and then you would take whatever the dice pool is of the action that you want to take. You would pick the lower of those 2 dice pools. You would roll that, and then you would have to divide those successes between your defensive action and your offensive action.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay. I think this time around, I'm actually just going to take the hit.
Okay. All right. And still take a full action?
Yeah.
All right.
You're such a boss.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
They do have a complication of 2 that they can either choose to buy off or they can choose to take wounds. They will buy that complication off. So they do not get wounded, but they are able to inflict 1 injury on you as they basically just rushing forward. Like you see one of them, just barely get winged as he brings down a meat cleaver and it slices into your shoulder. And a couple of them hit you with like meat tenderizers. Ultimately, you wind up taking 1 injury condition from the onslaught. However, when those gunshots start to ring out, bang, 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 you're sort of just getting hit and getting yourself ready for your action. And as you are taking your action, all of you very clearly in the distance here.
Oh boy.
All right, so what would you like to do?
My bad, guys. My bad.
No, that's okay. We just won this fight. It's all good.
Did we? Did we?
Yeah, we did. Absolutely.
Okay.
What would you like to do for your action, Nora?
Okay. So with that, I think I'm going to shout out, all right, it's time to fucking book it. And I'm going to go ahead and make use of my smoke grenade.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out how to use that. So it says
Nora is Batman.
Right?
This is crazy.
yeah. So I've got a +1E stun, thrown, and concealable. That's what the attributes are for the smoke grenade. So does that mean that I can potentially stun the horde using the smoke grenade? Will that affect
Potentially.
Sky?
Likely not. I mean, it's going to affect people in a region, but so let me check the stun tag here real quick. Appreciate your patience while I look that up. I believe it centers on an area. So, second. There we go. Forgive me, my Adobe is moving a little slower than I would like it to. But I have my print version on the way because it's on sale for 50% off over at Studio 2. Link is in the chat, but I will throw it in there again once I get this this tag located. There we go.
109.
Thank you.
I think it's just a damage conversion for stun.
Yes, I believe the way stun works, if I recall properly. So thrown, you use the firearm skill, unless the weapon also has the returning tag, which it does not, correct?
That would be a terrifying grenade.
Correct.
Oh no!
It would be funny.
Normally, a grenade with a returning tag means you missed and it bounced off of something and it's coming back.
Right.
As stun says the weapon inflicts stress conditions.
instead of injury conditions. Yep. There we go. Sorry about that delay there. So yeah, so you can absolutely throw that out there and see how that goes for those folks. It doesn't have an explosive or anything along those lines, right?
Nope.
So okay. Yeah, if you want to throw that into the horde, you're absolutely welcome to. Go ahead and give me your firearms and I suppose might, if that works for you.
Unrelated, is Evening Gown one of the people following me?
Sure.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yes.
That was
Evening
one
Gown,
success.
Bubba, and one success.
Good face.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent. And what's the enhancement on the grenade?
That is a +1.
Okay, excellent. So you drop it down and effectively reduce the horde by 1. As a few of them sort of drop coughing and hacking and are having they're effectively out of the fight. So that drops the horde by 1. That also pretty much eliminates the advantage that's being created by the distraction that your friend caused over there. So that brings us to our next round of combat. I would like to go through this round here, and then we'll take a 5 if that's all right with everyone. Does that work for everybody? Excellent.
Sure.
So going back to the top of the order, Sky, what would you like to do?
Well, obviously to maintain focus during a panic, I'm currently singing some Flock of Seagulls to myself. So I will turn over my shoulder and look at the scary people following me with their auburn hair and tawny eyes. And I'm going to actually look over. So I've had a pretty good view of this place now as I'm sprinting around. So are there any taller structures in here, like in this area? What's like the tallest structure here?
The tallest structure is, it looks like almost like a makeshift silo.
Okay.
Like maybe there's something they're keeping grain in or something along those lines.
Grain. Sure. So
Something.
grain made from babies. I'm going to I will run to the silo and
Keto grain.
I will turn around. I will turn around, and as I do, I will brandish my grappling hook, and I'm going to ascend the silo while making all sorts of rude faces and noises at the horde that's following me.
Excellent. Go ahead.
And I will say, you're not at the top of the food chain here.
Go ahead and give me an athletics check, please.
I would love to. Hold on, one more. Yeah, with enhancements, that's like 5.
All right, so you throw the grappling hook up, and you start climbing the side of the silo. No problem, and they sort of get underneath and start like at you. But once again, there's a moan.
Can I get a view of where Shale is? Can I see where he is from where I am?
No,
Okay,
no, you can't.
that's fine.
And that brings us to Shale. So, what would you like to do?
If no one's following me, I'm just gonna like start singing raindrops keep falling on my head as I'm like searching for a blowtorch and anything else that could be fun. Specifically, anything else that I can turn that blowtorch into a flamethrower.
Give me a
Come on, Shale, you can do it.
technology and
God damn
cunning
it.
check.
That's not great. Come on, Shale. Don't you. I got 1.
All right,
Just the one.
so you find a blowtorch. You find a couple of like kerosene
Enough.
cans that you're pretty sure are full-ish. And you find what looks like some sort of like an aerosol can. You're not sure what's in it.
Yep, we'll do it. So I'm just like kind of like stroll out with my blowtorch in like a pocket and my cans of either gas or like human blood and my spray and start walking in a direction away from the horde.
All right, so you're walking over towards the front gate, basically.
Yeah.
All right, you can see the horde is pretty well occupied right now.
Do I see Sky in the sky?
You see Sky. Yeah, as you look over, you see Sky like up on the side of this
God
tower.
damn it.
Making obscene gestures and yelling at the horn. Yeah.
Wondrous.
And no one else is around me.
No one else is immediately around you, no.
Gotcha. Then I will drop the 2 gas and I'll start heading in Sky's direction with my spray and my blowtorch and hope that my 0 in technology doesn't end up killing us both.
Excellent. I love it. That will bring us over to Will. What would you like to do, Will?
So the part of the mob that's on Nora and me, are we still outside the walls?
I would assume you're probably like at the gate.
At the gate? Okay. All right. Because his initial plan was if we can bait them outside the walls and then lock the gate behind us and get inside. But I don't know how feasible that would be at this point.
You can give it a shot if you have something you'd like to try to do to like encourage them to come that way. Shooting at them, probably not going to encourage them to come that way.
Right. Yep. Having seen what sort of environment they're in and going off of his cultural knowledge of this sort of entity, do they have any particular vocal calls or anything that might draw them outside? Can he mimic one of their allies that might have been outside to try and get there's more of them over here, come on guys, let's go get this gang too, kind of thing?
Sure, let's give you a she got like 5 successes to figure out what they were, so I'm going to give you a subterfuge roll.
He's terrible at that. Awesome, this will go great.
But I will give you 2 enhancement on that roll because you
Okay.
you know your way around them, so you know like some of the sounds they might make or some of the things that might draw them.
Would this be presence or manipulation?
Up to you. I would lean probably more on manipulation.
Yeah, manipulation. He's not quite as good at that, but that seems a little more accurate on this. So, all right. Does anybody mind if I buy a momentum from the pool to add 1 dice to
Do it.
this roll? All righty.
Yeah.
Please have some.
Damn it. 5, 2, 2, 3. No
We got
dice.
momentum back.
Bright
Yay.
side, you get additional momentum for failing your roll.
Okay, right. Yep.
Downside, nothing has happened. So now
right.
this,
Yep.
this horde is going to swell forward toward Nora and try to overtake her.
Well, they're only like +1 right now, right?
Right. It
Anymore?
is now a scale 2 horde.
Mhm.
All but one of them that are even over by the tower are rushing in that direction. You're just kind of getting the bum's rush right now. What would you like to do in response, Nora? Are you going to go full defensive, or are you going to try to split your pool again?
I think I'm probably gonna go full defensive this time around.
Okay.
So the power of the horde itself, because you said it's like it's +1 at this point.
Yes.
How does that impact like what damage they could potentially do to me?
So the way the scale works is scale is a +2 enhancement per difference in scale. So whatever they do, whenever they try to attack you, they get an additional 2 enhancement because they're a larger scale than you are.
Got it.
Above and beyond any weapons that they're carrying. They also it costs them an additional success to buy the inflict injury stunt, but they can buy it as many times as they can buy it. So a horde, if it gets enough successes, can literally like take you apart like a Romero, just like pull you to pieces. So that is a possibility.
Sweet. All right. Yeah, I think with that being said, my best bet is to go into defense. I'm going to trust that my friends around me are going to take care of the strategy shit, and I'm going to absorb those blows.
Excellent. So which resilience attribute would you like to rely on?
How about stamina?
Excellent. And so you'd roll that twice. And are you wearing any armor?
I am. I've got a reinforced vest.
And that provides you with what?
It says soft 2.
Excellent. That increases the difficulty of the inflict injury stunt on you by 2.
Okay.
All right, so go ahead and make your roll.
So that was 4 successes for me.
Excellent. As they're lunging forward and swinging at you, like you're like parrying, like the meat cleaver comes down, you knock it out of the way with your wrist. You manage to like bring your knee up just in time to block a meat tenderizer. A punch comes in and you like catch it on the chin, but it's not enough to really set you back. Just kind of grazes, and you take the onslaught and take no damage this turn.
Nice.
And that concludes, because you don't have an action at this point because you went full defense. That will conclude the round. You all once again now hear a louder moaning, and from your vantage point, Sky, you can see the foliage just to the east of the settlement, like in a sizable circle, sort of waving toward the settlement.
I will
think on it, because we're going to take our break real quick. We'll be back in.
I'm going to ponder.
We're going to take a 5-minute for biological and technological. What were you going to say, Alex?
Oh, I was going to say, I'm going to do the same thing that my character's probably doing and go to the bathroom.
Exactly. If you're here watching live, please just hang out for a few minutes. We are just going to take a quick 5-minute break for biological and technological needs. While you're waiting, I do want to remind you that the Dystopia Rising core book and the story guide screen is on sale over at Studio 2 for 50% off. It's the hardcover print book, and I just threw the link for that in the chat. We will be back momentarily. Sit tight. Welcome back, everyone. We have returned for the second half of Dystopia Rising Evolution Wasteland Wanderers. If you're just joining us, thank you so much for being here. I want to make sure everyone is aware that the Dystopia Rising core rulebook in hardcover is 50% off over at Studio 2, as is the story guide screen. So head over there and pick that up as we continue our celebration. But first, let's get back into our situation. When last we met, Sky was perched safely atop a makeshift silo with Bubba Sawyer, one of the thrill killers, beneath him at the bottom. Sky was able to see some foliage movement outside of the thrill killer compound, which indicates there might be a horde of Zed on the way. Meanwhile, over by the gate, Nora is deftly fighting off this oncoming horde of thrill killers, sort of deflecting their blows as Will tries to lure them outside, to no avail so far. Shale has acquired a blowtorch, an aerosol can of some kind, and a couple of canisters of possibly kerosene or propane and propane accessories. And
It's popcorn butter.
though those cases have been set down, you are still carrying the blowtorch and the aerosol. Does that sound like where we parked? Beautiful. It is the top of the third round. What would Sky like to do?
So now that it seems like I've lost a bit of control of the distraction that I was maintaining here, I will adjust my strategy accordingly. I'm going to look down at Bubba. I'm going to look at my rope, and I'm going to Tarzan his ass.
You're gonna like
I
swing down
will-
at him?
I'm going to swing down, and as I do so, I am going to produce my shiv, which is listed as on my character sheet. And I will attempt to heroically impale him upon my shiv.
All right.
And I will say as I do so, zombies are coming.
Beautiful. Go ahead and give me that close combat. So here's what we're going to need to do. You're going to need to split your dice pool between athletics to get down there and close combat to hit him.
Okay, so if that's the case, can I just hit him with my feet then? Like, can I just use the swing instead of the shiv? I want to hold on to the shiv.
Either way, you're going to need to split the dice because you're swinging as one action and hitting him as another action. Now, you will gain enhancement from both of those things. You just have to divide it. So your equipment from your shiv, for example, will give you enhancement to that roll. Your equipment
Sure.
from the rope will give you enhancement to the roll. All your
Okay.
other enhancements will apply. You just have to divide them appropriately.
Sure. I think I'd rather use the swing pool because that gives me a bigger pool to split, right?
No. You roll the smaller pool, and then divide your successes regardless.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes. All right, let's do it. Let's do it, Bubba. So I roll the smaller of the pools, and then I split the successes of that.
Yes, and then you apply the enhancements to. Once the successes are split, you apply the enhancements where they belong.
Okay. We're almost there. So if I got 4, I only need 1 to swing, right? Okay, so I will use 1 to swing. That leaves me 3 to hit Bubba.
Yes.
So, and my enhancements are, then I guess it's +1 from the shiv, right? And then I don't think I get anything else. Like athlete wouldn't apply here, right? No.
No.
Okay. Well, it applied to the swing, so that's technically like 3. But yeah, so the swing I got like 3, and then the stab I got 4.
Excellent. So you do hit with enough to inflict
Nice.
1 injury on Bubba. and
Okay.
you do so.
Okay, I'm not trying to stick around and stab him. I was just basically just using my momentum to get him out of the way. I'll leave my shiv in him. I don't care. As soon as I hit the ground, I'm running away from him. Like I'm not going to stand around and box.
Excellent.
Like that's not really the thing. This is more like a, I gotcha, and I'm running.
Right, and move through. Brought you a present. All right, so
Yeah.
you stick him in the side. He is now bleeding and very
You take my rope. You take my rope with me though.
unhappy about it. And you see him like walk over, like around the silo.
It's ominous. I don't like that at all.
That brings us to Shale. What would you like to do? You're muted.
I definitely was muted. So Sky is like free of the horde, running in a direction.
Yeah, like
Correct, is
toward
that-
you. Yeah.
We're running toward Shale Nora that direction. Yeah.
Well, slight disappointment, I don't get to use my flamethrower, but
I mean, there's still an entire horde that's like beating on Nora right now. Just throwing that out there.
yeah, that's true.
They aren't
For
looking
that
at you,
Like
probably.
she's soloing like 8 of these thrill killers right now.
Somebody tell me bringing in a makeshift flamethrower is not going to help, but it might. So I'm just yelling Sky, pick up one of those popcorn butters, and then I'm just going to also book it.
Okay.
Because I did hear Zarby zombies as he was falling.
Oh, you found a blowhorse.
I think this is what they were talking about. I couldn't find actually like a inflatable horse, but this should be good enough. Yeah, going to book it in the direction of Nora and Will.
All right. You can get. They're only a range band away, so you can get there and still
Okay.
act.
Yeah, no, flamethrower.
You're gonna just
Yeah,
at the horde. All right. Fire it up. Give me a firearms and dexterity.
so that's a 0 on the firearms. Yep. This will be great.
We got momentum.
But I mean, I'm pretty dexterous. I got like 5 of those things. Oh, 2. Yeah, just the 2.
Excellent. So you shoot a gout of flame forward from, like you light the blowtorch and hit it with the spray.
Mhm.
It is not sufficient to draw the horde off of Nora, but it's sufficient enough to split the horde's attention.
All right, that
so now
works.
you will both have a horde to contend with this next round.
That works less.
So, but good show, good attempt. That brings us to Will. Will, what would you like to do?
Well, distracting them didn't work, and I think getting inside and away from these zombies is going to be the order of the day. So he's just going to shoot to kill as many as he can at this point, and hopefully drop maybe a body or two and make life easier for Nora using that.
Excellent. I would like you to go ahead and roll your firearms, dexterity, and whatever enhancement from your gun.
Pistols are +1 enhancement. So that is 10 that became another 10 and then became a 4. So that's 3 successes on the dice. So 4 total with the enhancement from the pistols.
Excellent. You start just, just dropping shell. You reduce the magnitude of the horde. They are no longer a scaled horde. They are now individuals.
Okay, cool.
So that is the good news.
And then he'll just post up right behind Nora, ready to make a move to get inside and close the gate whenever possible.
Excellent. Nora, there's 2 individuals that are on you, 2 individuals that are on Shale. The 2 individuals that are on you are each going to go ahead and make their attack checks. Would you like to try to go full defense still, or are you going to try to split a dice pool?
I'm going to split the dice pool this time.
All right. What other action would you like to take?
So I'm trying to assess the situation here. All right. So we've got to get inside the gates. That's Will's plan anyways, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's what Will's shouting at us. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to get inside the gates. Okay, so seeing part of the horde attached to Shale, I'm gonna be like, hey, creepy kid, that was metal AF. And I am going to, my role as protector, I'm going to move in and I'm going to try to get Shale out of this pickle that he's gotten himself into.
Okay.
So I think I'm just going to go for like a straight, like smash their lungs into their ribs with my machete move.
All right.
At least one of the guys attached to Shale.
So since you are defending at the same time, what you probably do is take your stamina and roll that, and then divide successes between adding to your defense and your attack roll. You will have the soft armor will apply to your defense, and your machete enhancement will apply to whatever you spend on the enhancement. That's how the roll.
Okay. So, so rolling stamina first, correct?
Yep, it's just stamina is the only thing you roll.
Oh, got it. And I'm splitting the
Yep,
successes.
splitting successes.
One of those was a 10, so I will re-roll. And I get to roll, I'm rolling stamina twice for that.
No, that's just straight stamina roll.
Okay. So in that case, that was 3 successes total. And then I've got the 2 attached to my armor for defense. And then for my weapon, I've got the +1.
Right. So you could go 1 success towards defense. So you'd have a defense effectively of 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could put the other 2 towards the attack, which would also give you an attack effectively of 3.
Okay, let's do it that way.
All right. You come down and slice one of the thrill killers in the back, absolutely causing him an injury and a bad day, but not dropping him quite yet. The 2 that are on you are each going to attack. The first one getting a whopping 2 successes, so they do not make it through your armor. The second one getting also 2 successes, also does not pierce your armor. They're kind of like beating on your back as you slice into one of their shoulders. The rest of the zombies will act. So the 2 that are attacking against Shale.
Cannibals, right? The zombies aren't here yet, right? That's what you said, right?
Right.
Making sure, right?
All
I'm
you
scared,
have
right?
defensively is just your straight up stamina. So go ahead and give that a check. And no, I was mistaken. Because you split your dice pool, you absolutely do get to roll your stamina again. Go ahead and do that if you don't mind, Nora. Roll your stamina one more time. And let's split those successes up through.
That was 1 more success from that roll.
So you want to add that to damage for the one you hit?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, they drop.
Sweet.
Nice.
So what did you get on your stamina, Shale?
1 success, and I have soft 2 reinforced vest.
Okay, excellent. That is enough to save you as the meat cleaver hits your vest, and like you feel the blade against your skin, but it doesn't cut anything. And that's when you all hear it. You hear it before you see it. The sound of a pull start motor. As Bubba comes walking around the back of that silo with what looks like a riding lawnmower that has been attached to the handle of a regular lawnmower and then set up to like a guitar strap that he has over his chest as he's walking out toward you, all 6'6" of him holding the spinning blades of this lawnmower. I would like each of you to please give me a survival plus resolve roll. On a failure, you will gain a trauma condition and run.
What if they're already running, though? I haven't stopped running this whole time.
Seems fair.
You said that was composure and what?
That's resolve and
sorry.
survival.
Yeah,
Resolve and survival. Okay. And I might have an edge that helps me with this. I don't know. I've got mind resistance 1, so it looks like I get an enhancement to resist the effects of fear. Would that apply here?
That would apply here, yes.
Okay. I have 1 success, so 2 effective successes for Will.
Excellent. Unfortunately, this is a difficulty 3 roll, so you
damn it.
have failed. You gain a trauma condition and begin running away from the compound.
Okay. Fair enough.
What did Nora get?
I actually also have mind resistance, but I've got 2 in that.
Okay, so again, either of you can spend 1 momentum to reroll one of those failed dice, or 2 momentum to reroll 2 of those failed dice. You have enough. Or you can gain 2 momentum in this scene as you start running into the woods.
So I got 2 successes outside of that.
Oh, 2 successes on the dice plus the.
Yeah, plus I've
So
got
you
the.
did not fail. Beautiful. That's exactly what you need. It's a difficulty 3 roll. So you are able to stand your ground if you so choose. You can act normally, and you take no trauma condition. Do you want to spend the momentum to try again there?
If you guys are willing to let me spend the dice,
Please, by all means.
I'd prefer not to have y'all's
Yes.
medic running around out in the woods with the zombies while everybody else is
Yeah, it's like worse out there than it is in here right now.
double 9s. That was worth it. So
Excellent.
that's a total of 4 successes then for him.
Excellent. So the 2 of you do not take trauma conditions and do not run. What do we
Okay.
got for Shale?
Cheryl got 2 successes on the dice and no enhancements.
Do you want to spend some momentum, or do you want to run screaming out into the woods?
We're getting kind of low on the momentum, and given that sound is
Actually, we're not. We have 2 left.
left, I'll try 1.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's see. It would be great if you just did the thing. Got it.
Yeah.
Excellent. I love it. All right. And what about Sky?
I got 3.
All right. None of you
Nice.
are overcome with terror as he comes walking out with this giant, spinning, rusty, blood-spattered lawnmower.
I would like to opt to still be terrified.
Right. Like, I think we're still just horrified with that.
Still horrified.
No, you're terrified. You just haven't lost control.
I pinch
Although
it back, I will
about
shit
3% of Will's mind is like, oh, that's how he got the leg off. Okay.
So yeah, he will spend this round getting over to you. The rest of the horde is going to attempt to. Oh, the rest of the horde already went, or the rest of what was the horde already went. So that brings us to the top of the order again, because Nora, you acted. So Sky, what you got?
All right, so there's 3 left. There's 3 left at the group, right? Because Nora just chopped 1 down. So there's 2 on Shale, and there's 1 hacking at Nora. Which one's the smallest one? Is Evening Gown still here?
Evening Gown is the smallest one, yes.
Okay, and
And
Evening Gown
she's
is
got
still
the
standing.
tongs, and she's like grabbing at Nora's nose.
That's weird. Okay,
Somehow that's scarier than Lawnmower Man.
so here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, I am
Like
still
salad
running.
tongs.
So I'm running away from Lawnmower Man,
Yes.
because he's behind me at the silo toward the group at the gate. So I'm going to run at. I'm gonna run at Evening Gown, and as I do so, I am going to kind of unceremoniously place the grappling hook on her shoulder behind her neck as I run by, and say, hold this. And as I start letting the rope out, what I'm going to try to do, basically, since they're right by the gate, how tall is the gate?
It's like 10 feet.
I'm going to vault the gate holding the rope.
Ooh.
Well, the gate is open now, so you
No,
can
no,
try
no,
to
no,
vault.
no. I know. I know. I'm trying to take the rope over the gate because they're in front of the gateway, right? Like the
Yes.
opening. So my goal, my plan here is I want to hook her and pull her up so that she's suspended in front of the doorway. That's my plan.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
You're trying to pinata Evening Gown.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So here's the thing.
However
right?
you want me to do that.
It's going to be difficulty 3.
Sure.
It will use the lower of your close combat or athletics pools.
Okay.
There's also a complication of 2 because all this metal that the walls and the gates are constructed out of is rusty and sharp and tetanusy and not great. So if you don't buy off that complication, you will suffer an injury.
So I will opt to ignore at least one of those
Right.
with balance step.
Right. So that means the complication is a 1.
Right. And then okay. And I'm sure natural athlete will apply at this point. So let's do it, baby.
Yep.
Hold this. Excuse me. Shouldn't have scorned me at the silo, lady. I asked for your attention. And you didn't want it. But the hook will bring you back. That is 5.
Wonderful.
All right. So you run up and you hook her like in the base of the skull.
I haven't stopped running.
You've effectively shut off her nervous system below the neck. So she's alive still, but not really able to do much. You go up over the top and like over the razor wire, down through it, and like pull her up. So she's now suspended about 5 feet off the ground on the inside of the gate, which is open.
Sure.
And just sort of swinging at this point.
That's my action.
And going, because that's all she can control.
From this distance, you have lovely eyes.
Leaving only 2 enemies on the ground besides Bubba. So that brings us to Shale. Who only has you, and the 2 enemies that are left are on you. Or no, one's on you, one's on, because Nora dropped the one that was on you. So there's one on you, one on Nora.
All right, then if that's what we're doing, I'm going to try to take 1 down.
All right. Using what specifically?
Where's my sheet again? I want to use my scrap knuckles, which I always have on anyway.
Yeah, excellent.
So we're just going Jeet
straight up
Kune Do,
close
like, box, box.
combat, like
Yep.
right in the face.
Let's see how many of these can I do. Yeah. Oh, that's a good roll. Yep. So 6 successes plus 2 enhancements.
Damn.
That is sufficient to buy a critical hit if you would like.
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm in the face, Ed.
You punch this one in the face with your scrap knuckles. You feel the nose completely collapse underneath your blow, and then almost like a jelly-like consistency as your hand just keeps going. And you rack against the back of the inside of their skull, and you have to like put your hand like on their forehead and pull your hand out. And when you do, there's kind of this like fist in a mayonnaise jar sort of as it just spits brain onto the ground in front of you. Can you give me a resolve and composure roll, please?
Oh, that's fair.
Punched his brain out, man.
You're not horrible at this. You're not great at it. Okay, 2.
All right, you do not take a trauma condition. You just sort of flick the brain off your hand, and you notice, however, that drew Bubba's attention. Bubba like looks straight at you and goes and starts like running.
This is homie.
No, we can work with this.
All right, that will bring us to Will. What would you like to do?
Okay. How much of an action is it to close the gate?
That would probably be your action if you want to pull both sides of the gate closed. That's going to be
Yeah, he wants to get that gate closed, and I realize he's probably getting not exactly kicked in the back of the head by Evening Gown, but no wait. Sky is still on the outside though, right?
Sky is
Because
like
he jumped over the.
yeah,
I'm looking at
Sky
the
is still
doorway right now.
outside.
Because if I close the gates now, Sky would still be outside the gates.
That
right?
is correct.
Technically, okay. He's not. He's gonna yell, "Sky, close the gates!" Turn around.
As soon as I'm done with this lynching,
that makes
buddy.
his choice. That makes his choice much easier because he's not gonna lock a buddy out. I have a short-term aspiration of keeping Shale out of trouble, so I'm just going to unload bullets into Bubba.
Excellent.
I
Excellent.
was going straight into Bubba. Yeah, no, that was the next.
Yeah. Okay. So, come on, buddy. That is 3 with an enhancement of 1, so that's 4 successes
Right.
on a dexterity firearms.
Beautiful. You shoot Bubba square in the like chest as he's running up, like
Awesome.
doing this number. And
Right.
He doesn't slow down.
That's what yeah, no. Rabid rage plus human body of significant mass, and yeah, no, he was expecting, but
Now,
every
you do
little
see
bit
a
hopefully
healthy-
helps.
You do see like a healthy report of blood shoot out of Bubba's
Right.
back. Like that didn't not hurt him.
Right.
He just doesn't seem to have registered that it hurts
Right,
yet.
but it's going to take 3 or 4 more of those probably.
Right. There's a non-zero chance that it's going to take more than one of them.
Right. Yep. Shale, get down, get out.
So you still have the one that is on Nora,
Okay.
right? Just making sure I'm not forgetting any of them.
There's just there was one left, whoever it's on.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it was
I think
just
it's
the one on
I think
Nora.
it's on Nora
and Bubba.
because
Yeah.
Nora took out
But-
one that was on Shale, and Shale took out the other one that was on Shale. So
Right.
Yeah, and Evening Gown was going for Nora's
Evening
nose.
Gown was going
Right.
for Nora. So Nora,
Right.
you're squared off 1-to-1 with one of them now. Are you going to try to you're going to split your pool, or are you going to try to just use base defense and just take a full action on this thing?
Yeah, I want to take a full action this time.
All right, so go ahead and just roll stamina to add to your basic defense, and she's going to try to hit you with this meat cleaver.
On 10, I need to reroll. So that was 3 successes.
Excellent. She brings the meat cleaver like down at you, and you like nudge your shoulder into her wrist, knocking it wide and leaving her wide open for your attack. However, as you're ready to draw back for that, you just see this mountain of skin suit wearing cannibal carrying this giant lawnmower. And he's just going to bring it like down on top of Shale's head. That's his
That's
aim.
fair.
Shale, you may roll your stamina.
One success.
And what's your soft armor?
2.
Excellent. So you take 2 levels of injury as he brings this lawnmower like right down like on your forehead, and like chunks of skull start flying out of the side. It's like rips a piece of your eye off, and yeah, you take 2 wounds, which leaves you with how many of your injury conditions remaining?
2.
All right, excellent. So you're not that bad off, all things considered. But he is still holding that on you as the round begins to resolve. Nora, what would you like to do?
All right. I'm gonna look towards Sky and be like, you gotta bring this home, Sky. We are about to become zombie chow. And I'm going
Guess
to
what?
the one that's on me, I'm a little preoccupied with that at the moment. So I'm going to, does that one have like a yucky meat suit too? The one that's like all up on me?
They're wearing someone's face,
Oh,
but other than that, they're like wearing someone's face and like some overalls and a flannel.
okay. So yeah, like while we're duking it out, I'm just be like, you know, that's a really lovely get up you have on there. That's just like a top notch meat mask. And I hate to have to do this to you. And I'm just going to go in with my machete, hack and
Excellent.
slash.
Give it a shot.
Okay, so I roll my close combat, correct? And then do I add the
So your
Go
close
ahead.
combat, your might or dexterity, whichever one you're relying on there. And
Mhm.
then once you roll successes, you would add your enhancement from the machete.
Got it. Okay,
And any other
So
enhancement you might have.
awesome. So I will do machete, or sorry, my close combat and my might. So let me do that really quick. Dang. Okay, so I got 4 successes, and I have the +2 attached to my machete as well.
Excellent. You bring the machete like up and like hit them under the chin, and you see it's almost like speed peeling an onion, right? Like so, like the mask rips in half, and then you see the face underneath it split in half, and then you see the jaw split in half, and just the contents of the inside of this person's head just empties at your feet.
Can I
And they,
also
like-
add something to
Yeah, sure.
for Nora, in case you didn't know, it looks like you have melee weapon expert. So anytime you are splitting your pool, you get to use the highest instead of the lowest for your
Ooh.
actions.
Oh,
okay.
hey, look at that. Now we
I
know.
did miss that.
That's going to
so
come in handy.
thank you.
You're welcome.
That's about to be very important.
Carry on.
This thrill killer takes one step toward you after their head has emptied onto your feet and just falls flat onto like Weekend at Bernie's, just dead leans on your shoulder.
Aw, I'm holding my rope.
And that will bring us. Did I miss someone?
No.
No, that's just the end of the turn. All right,
Yeah, that's
Sky,
just
what you
bottom of
got?
Yeah.
Have I ruined your lives enough? No, Travis. You should go again.
So now all that's left is Bubba and the Horde. Sky, as your turn opens, you see the foliage start to break
Hi, fellas. Be with you in a second.
as you just see a wall as far as you can see towards both horizons.
So here's, I would
Moving
like to,
into-
you said it's a full action to close the gate, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, we're a little busy in here. You're gonna have to give me a moment. I'm gonna grab the first gate and close it. I'm still holding the rope. I'll grab the second gate and close it. And I'm going to tie it off with the rope. So that if they do get it open, meal. Like that's all I'm thinking. Is they're gonna get an airdrop of evening down meat.
Right. It's like, hey, we at least gave you something to pay attention to.
And since that's my action, I can't do anything about Bubba. But right now I'm just looking for, there was a chain that was keeping the gate closed before. Do I see that chain?
Yeah, it's still like on it's on the gate side that she is not on. Right?
Okay, I'm
'Cause
just going to-
Bubba hit it and it broke open.
I'm spending my whole turn keeping this secure and trying to like lock this gate off and do everything I can.
All right.
Hope you don't die back there. And I just look at it. There you
Go
go.
ahead and give me
Action.
just a technology and we'll say dexterity roll to see
Okay.
how well you can bind all this stuff back up.
Sure. I don't suppose I could opt for survival instead, could I?
Sure, I'll let you out for survival.
Because I
Feeling-
feel like
feeling
I need to survive here. That's what I'm. This is a self-preservation thing for me.
Valid.
And I reflect. This could either be good. This could be good. 4.
All right,
Nice.
you pull it shut. You realize if you get your hands on that blowtorch, you can probably fix the busted chain or just like melt the chain shut. But
Okay.
right now, you're pretty sure to hold for a turn or two, probably.
I'm not letting it go yet. But I will yell, "Hey, Shale, bring that blowhorse!"
And you look over and you see Shale literally has the lawnmower on his face.
Whenever you're done with that, take your time.
Shale, it is your action. What would you like to do as this lawnmower is chipping into you? Like all you see right now is like spinning blade, like right here,
Right
and the
there.
one eye that still is working.
I mean, we lost half our face, so this is not a time to be stealthy. So we're just gonna try to get the lawnmower out the face, and then stay as close as possible, because with something this big, I assume getting far away is not great.
Sure.
And we gotta take him down. So rule 1, lawnmower out of face. Rule 2, hit him as much as possible so I don't get lawnmower back in the face again.
You can like squat and just try to like
Yeah.
like go right for the jewels with that.
Yeah. That sounds. You know what? Yeah, right for the jewels, as many times as need be to get some kind of effect. Because if like 2 gunshots don't work,
Speed bag
one's
those
not gonna
boobies.
work.
Right in his fine young cannibals.
Go ahead. I'm going to give you an enhancement of 1 because you've got some cover. Like he can't quite see you because of where these.
Where are you?
The lawnmower is.
This is less good. This is not as good. Okay, so 5 with the enhancements.
Excellent.
Nice.
So you drop and you come up and you hit him directly in the junk. And again, the like scrap knuckles like pierce through the outer skin that he's wearing into the inner skin that he's wearing, and you sort of like go past the groin and like up into you're pretty sure your hand has gone into his stomach, like into his body cavity.
God damn it again.
You feel like stringy material around your hand as he starts to stumble. And you, who's next in the initiative? Will? You can
Yep, I
clearly
think so.
see that he's about to drop this lawnmower.
My fist enema.
Okay.
I mean, it's like Ballad of Ricky. Like like you could come away with some intestine if you felt the need to.
This is
I mean,
why you wear
probably
the-
he
this
took
is
my
why
face
you wear-
off.
This is why you wear the long sleeves, Jay.
Now, if he drops this lawnmower, it's gonna land on Shale in
Yeah.
all likelihood, right?
There's a very good chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's gonna be real hard to patch up, and I need to keep Shale out of trouble. So yeah, just run and try and grab the lawnmower. I'm not an athletic person, but I'm gonna give it or maybe even just like kick it to the side or something. Just
Sure.
try and deflect it somehow.
Give me a close combat and dexterity or might, whichever you prefer.
I'll go Dex because might I'm just rolling 1 die. So I have and success 1-8.
So here's how this winds up going. You run forward and do just like a drop kick, not so much hitting the lawnmower as like you hit Bubba in the torso.
Okay.
And you, because you're in like a 3-point stance with your fist up right now, Shale, he just falls backward off of your hand.
Ugh.
So like you look up and there's bloody rope connecting you to this body that's on the ground now, as the lawnmower tips and falls on his head and just starts spraying everyone in the immediate vicinity with blood and gore as it's just eating its way through his upper body. And you feel like the occasional tug.
Yeah.
And then you see Will has landed on the ground next to you. laying down.
Ow.
Nora, what would you like to do?
Yeah, that's great. This is fine. So we we're in the clear in terms of inside of this gate, correct?
At the
And
moment,
Sky
it
is-
appears to be, yes.
Okay. And Sky's kind of holding us in. I'm going to shift priorities a little bit. You know, I'll look at Will and I'll be like, you know, this is fine. All the blood looks pretty good on you. I'm going to see if I can find some way to assist Sky in holding the gates or securing the gates, or I can potentially like get the blowtorch over there
I was gonna
if
say the
that's
blowtorch
possible.
is sitting like on the ground in plain
Yeah.
view. It is a little bit moist, but otherwise it's fine.
If Nora starts heading in this direction, empty-handed or even with a blowtorch, I'm going to point over my shoulder and say, "Grab that lawnmower. We're gonna need it."
All right, perfect. Is it possible for me to take over the lawnmower and the blowtorch?
Yes, though I'm gonna need you to make a might roll to move that lawnmower.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I'm
might
not
and
picking that thing
athletics
up.
probably.
All right. I can do those things.
Will can't handle the lawnmower.
No.
Okay, so that was 2 successes.
Excellent. You grab it and you drag it, and yeah, it is. I mean, it's like a riding mower that somebody has attached to the handle of a regular mower. So you're like, oh god, but you drag it over. And as you get up to the gateway, the horde breaks through and basically gets up to the gates. They're going to be acting on their initiative the next turn. Fortunately for all of you, they go last.
So wait, so they open the gate?
No. They are like get up, like
Oh, they're
they're
at the gate.
stepping to the gate now, and you can see
Okay.
this is a scale 4 horde of walkers.
Amazing.
Big ass bunch of zombies. Okay.
You have a round before they get in action. What would you like to do? Starts with Sky.
So I will. They're gonna break through here. I suggest we start that lawnmower, prop it up against the gate, and go out that way. And I point to the other side of the compound. Do we have what we need?
We've got the blowtorch. What about the gears?
Is Shale still holding his face?
Yes, very much so.
Feel like
Um,
probably.
Like you can see now that the blood has sort of been like knocked loose and is no longer like as you look over at Shale. Shale is still. Are you trying to unwrap yourself right now?
I think I'm just in shock right now. A lot of things are happening.
Yeah, so
Happening
Shale's
very
sitting
fast.
there on one knee with intestines wrapped around his arm, covered in blood and digested traitor
Yeah.
up to his elbow. And like this bit of skull is exposed and the eye socket is empty. And there's just sort of like muddy, gross, bloody ick right here. And he's just sitting there.
So I already used the rope. Since the rope is busy, just out of curiosity, is there another way up that silo? Like, is there a ladder or anything like that next to it? Or
Yeah, absolutely.
or we can get to high ground. Either way, we can't be here when they break through. So I will, I guess, hold my physical action until we get set up. I know I'm going to run when the gate cracks. That's my plan. So I'm going to help them figure out what needs to happen between now and then. So is the lawnmower something that we could like? Can we just start it and leave it here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it wide enough to cover the entrance of the gate?
No, but I mean, it's wide enough that you can set it in between those two doors, and that it will.
How dumb are zombies?
I mean, they're not particularly. These ones don't look like they're particularly bright.
Okay.
These are relatively heavily rotted. They are leaning in when they move, and they're moving a bit faster than a shambler. But walkers generally aren't terribly smart. They are capable of working in tandem. So, like, you would assume that eventually they will figure out to stop walking into that thing, and in fact might figure out ways to use it.
Or we could try to hold the line. And I put my hand on lawnmower and I wait. That's my action.
All right, that brings
That is
us-
my action.
So Shale, are you going to shake loose of this, or are you just going to sit there for a minute and think about everything that's led you to this point in your life?
I mean, I think like the point's not even done. Like we still got a horde outside, so I think I'm gonna get up somewhat coherent, grab the gas. Because anything I've learned is that fire cleanses all things. I'm just gonna start dripping gas everywhere. Probably some of myself because I also need to be cleansed at this point, but just like gas everywhere.
You're assuming the wrong type of gas. This is not liquid gas. This is like a kerosene, like a propane. I'm sorry, I said kerosene. I meant propane. This is a gas.
Got you. Gas.
Gas.
Having said that, you can certainly toss that.
It's a bomb.
Yeah. Okay. Then if it was lighter than liquid, so I'm just gonna toss it and try to get some kind of boom boom action going.
All right. You throw it into the horde. Go ahead and roll athletics and might.
Something tells me I shouldn't be doing this with one eye, but you know what?
I think it's a great idea.
Couldn't possibly
We're here.
go badly.
Oh, storyteller.
Yeah.
If you get no successes and a 1.
Excellent. So here's what happens. The good news is you gain 2 momentum.
Top notch.
The bad news is you throw it and it hits the razor wire that's on top of the gate. So I'm going to need a stamina roll out of our good friend Sky, who's holding the gate shut, as that blows up on top of you. But I also need you to go ahead and roll me 6 dice, if you would, please. Fail.
Well,
I'm over there too. Am I in the vicinity of that explosion as well?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for being honest about that. Go ahead and roll stamina.
Why not?
1 success.
Excellent. It's good.
all right. So I'm rolling stamina because explosions.
Yes.
I'm on it.
I feel like every time I'm in one of Travis's game, I inadvertently explode some kind of building.
I got 2 and I have a leather jacket.
Okay. You're
That's 3,
fine.
I guess.
Yeah, you're all right. The leather jacket doesn't actually provide you any bonus against this because this is effectively environmental damage at this point.
Okay, sure. So 2.
I got 3. I'm looking to see. I have an edge called adrenaline spike, and I'm trying to see what that does because I already forgot.
So it lets
I
you
don't know if that'll help
ignore penalties if you're injured like 1 time per day, I think.
Okay. So I guess we'll keep that in my back pocket.
Oh, right. What's your current injury complication, by the way?
Let's see. +3.
Okay, cool. When I said you're okay, I remember what I said I'd kill you last. I lied. You take 1 injury condition from the explosion. Will. Or no, not Will. I'm sorry. Sky. And how many did you get, Nora?
I got 3 successes.
You take 1 from the explosion. The explosion blows the gate open. It does reduce the scale of the horde by 1.
Great.
Okay. That's something.
So that's your consolation. and you get 2 momentum. But yeah, you like hit it and it just boom, just blows.
Where did evening gown go?
So you see evening
Is it
gown.
just a grappling hook now?
Yeah, like there's just an empty hook with a little bit of meat on it hanging there. And the horde is starting to fill in the hole. So that will bring us to Will's turn. What would you like to do?
Well, it's not exactly quiet enough that I can patch anybody up. So honestly, he's going to be looking around for that other propane tank.
It's right near you.
Okay. He's just going to sort of put his foot on it and roll it towards Sky and Nora, because he knows that he is not the person you want trying to chuck this into a mob of zombies. Somebody please use this.
Excellent. So I'll let you go ahead and just give it like a nice soccer pass.
Just
without
right to it.
risking it. And it lands at your feet, Nora. And it is your action. What would you like to do?
Okay, sorry. I was doing some reading. What did you just pass over to me?
The second propane
the other
tank.
propane tank.
The propane tank. Okay, got it. All right. Yeah, let's do some more boom booms. I will go ahead, and I'm assuming at this point I am like face to face with the horde. I'm going to pick that up, and I'm going to see if I can just kind of get this like right in the center of the horde, or if that puts us in the vicinity of another explosion, then I might try to aim towards more like the back of the horde. Anything to, avoid us dying right here.
Sure. Go ahead and roll. Your difficulty or your complication is going to be 3. Every level of complication you don't resolve on this throw will be 1 level of damage you're risking for yourself and your group. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So this is going to be athletics and might.
So as I haven't taken a physical action, I would like to know whether or not I will have the opportunity to dodge this situation.
You absolutely can.
Okay. I'm basically like
All right. So that's 2 8s and a 10. So let me re-roll that 10.
please.
Now it's 9. So that's 4 successes.
That'll do it.
All right. So you like jump up and like basketball shoot it, right? And
Yes.
not only are you able to like get it into the horde, but you actually see like a sharp piece of stone sitting out there that you're able to actually like throw it onto.
Oh,
so
hell
it
yeah.
bursts when it hits. And that causes an explosion that reduces the horde by another scale.
So what I will be doing when I see it clear and I'm like I feel comfortable, the explosion is I know the explosion is going to happen. So I am going to has the lawnmower been turned off at all? Or has it just been on this whole time?
That's been on this whole time.
Okay, I am going to take my entire body weight and I'm going to grab the part that he was holding on to and I'm going to shove it down so that the blades are just up as much as I can.
Yep.
Because if they're going to get blown at me, I'm just come and get it, boys.
So once again, you're all sprayed with blood and meat as this comes flying in.
He's a lawnmower as cover. That's my plan.
That happens, and then that comes to the start of the next action, or that comes to the horde's action. The horde fills in the hole and begins moving forward. Now, the closest people to the horde are going to be Nora and Sky. So the horde is going to attack Nora and Sky. Now I will give them a complication of 3 because of the lawnmower against their attack against you, Sky. But Nora, you don't get any such benefit. So attacking Nora, you may make a stamina roll for defense if you'd so choose.
Yes, I think I would like to do that.
Go ahead and do that.
But why though?
Nah, I'm good.
Got 1 8.
Okay. So as they come in, like you feel like they like just sort of pour over, and you start to feel them like pulling, and like joints pop, and skin start to tear as you take 2 injury conditions. Where does that put you at this?
So I am out of injury conditions, I believe, because I had 2, and then that was 2 additional, and I had 4, I
So
believe.
you're at
I'm reading this right.
maimed, or
So I am at, yeah, that would leave me at maimed.
so you are still active. You just have a +3 complication. Everything you do, or +4. It maimed
Plus
+4.
4, I think.
A +4.
All right. So yeah,
she's
every
got-
action you
she's got
take is
tough, tough times 2, or whatever that is.
yes. So you can use adrenaline surge to overcome that, and you can use, and your tough helps with like poisons and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I believe you can double check that while I'm moving on to what happens with.
Yeah, I'll look.
But yeah,
Yeah,
at the end
tough,
of the
tough gives her an innate armor rating. Yeah, but
yeah. Okay. So yeah, you're being an innate armor rating of what?
always has a soft armor rating of at least 1, even when not wearing any
Oh.
armor, and may add this armor rating to the value of any armor she wears.
Okay, so then you actually only took 1
Okay.
because they wouldn't have had
That's
enough
good.
to get 2. So yeah, you're still, but you are like, they're like ripping into your skin and pulling, like your joints are popping. They're like starting to try to pull you apart. And go ahead and roll your stamina for defense there, if you don't mind.
I really do
Okay.
mind. I don't like what you're doing right now. It's 2 plus armor counts for this, right?
Yes.
So 3.
All right. They managed to deal 1 point of damage to you, but they also enough of them fall in the lawnmower that it reduces the horde's scale down to a scale 2 horde.
Whew.
Okay. Guy is your action.
So myself and Nora are getting overwhelmed relatively quickly.
You really are.
right?
Yep.
Yep.
So I will discretion is the better part of valor here. So in order to facilitate our movement, I am going to leave the lawnmower where it is, right? And let it sit there and chop whoever's going to wander into it. And I am going to I'll use it as leverage. I'll push it into the mob as I shove at Nora and push us both as far as I can the other way.
All right.
Pushing toward the silo, I guess, which is closer to like the far end of the compound.
So what's your wound situation right now?
2.
All right. So you can have a complication of 4 because of the size of the zombie horde. If you
Okay,
do
I
not
have,
resolve this
what is it called?
complication, you have that one that lets you reduce the complication by 1. So that makes it
Yeah,
3.
yeah, okay.
If you do not resolve the complication, you will take another injury condition.
Understood. Okay. So yeah, we're shoving.
Tug of war with Nora in the middle.
I can do this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Five.
Nice.
Excellent. You push yourself and Nora free of the grip of the zombies.
I keep going.
No,
Kind
you-
of like a
you
conga
get-
line, you know?
You get like
as
a
far as we
range
can.
band. So now you look over and you're basically where the crosses are.
Okay.
And you see that 3 of those people on those crosses are now conscious, now screaming in terror as they realize what's happening. And you see the 4th person, the one with their leg off, like look at you with glassy, empty eyes and go, "Arr," and try to bite at you. Arr, as they have become undead hanging on this cross. And that will bring us to Shale. What you got?
I want to wherever like Sky and Nora are heading. I want to like sprint in that direction, or at least in my mind sprint. I think based on how my body is, it's more of a accelerated waddle. Is what I can actually accomplish. But like in my mind, I am just hauling ass.
Well, I mean, you've got Swift, so you have scale when you run. Like you can get
So
up there.
it's like Olympic level power walking is the speed I am.
But you've only got one eye, so you're kind of like drifting.
Drifting into the water.
Excellent. Yeah, you take off in that direction, no problem. That will bring us to Will. What do you got? As this wall of zombies is making its way toward you.
I was gonna say, much though Will would love to be Rambo in this situation, he is not. And he's not super swift, but he is going to be putting as much distance between himself and this horde as possible. Absolutely, just following right after the others.
Right. Are you going to be the last one, or are you going to run past your friends who are still on the ground and like backing away?
He is honestly, he's going to run through the group. If he can figure out where they're going. What's going to give him the most pause is he's trying to decide whether or not we have time to get these people down off these crosses.
No.
You absolutely do not. You know for sure if you stop to do that.
Then he'll be like, yeah, let's move, let's go.
All right,
The answer is bait.
Nora, what would you like to do? You're pretty sure you can get to your feet and help Guy up, and you all can get to the top of this tower. As long as you're willing to leave those people that are crosses. Pretty sure you can do that.
Oh yeah, that's not even occurring in my brain right now. So I am going to.
They were dead the minute they got put on those X's.
I'm just gonna kind of look around and be like, dear God, how did we get here? And
I know.
Can I like scoop up Sky?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna scoop up Sky, and I'm booking it as far as I can get.
Excellent. All of you get to the top of this silo, where you sit for the next several hours as the zombie horde slowly peels these. Like they're having a hard time with them. They're getting them piece by piece. Slowly peels these people down off of those crosses and passes them around. You watch them. You hear them begging. One of them tells you, "Please go to Philadelphia and tell my mom I love her." And like you see, like they're begging you for help as they're being pulled to pieces. So I would like each of you to go ahead and make a resolve and composure roll for me, please.
Can we have like a sing along to drown this out? I don't want to hear this.
Let's see, resolve, composure.
You said resolve and composure?
Yeah, is it resolve, right? Yeah.
2.
And my mind resistance would apply to this? Yeah.
Mind resistance would apply to this, yes.
Okay. So that's 1 enhancement. So total of 5 for Will.
Will's like, hey, people die.
Will has hours to treat people, and we're all injured.
I mean, honestly, he's like, look, shoot him in the head if you can from here, but I want you guys to queue up. He's like desperately looking around for something to scrub his hands with, you know.
Start with faceless.
Right. I don't know who's worse off, but yeah.
And what did Shale get on that?
3.
All right, you're good. What did Nora get?
That was a whopping 1 success, but I do get 2 additional for my mind resistance, so 3
Excellent.
total.
So no trauma condition for you. And what about Sky?
I got 2.
All right, you're all good. You managed to not take any psychological wounds by listening to this horrible situation.
Like I'm big-hearted, but there's only room in my heart for this group right now. Okay.
You
Little family.
you're able to treat everyone if you'd like, because you have enough supplies on you for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
But let's check out
Um,
first aid real quick.
So he does have skilled healer, which means if this is considered quiet and calm enough to just do standard treatment.
Sure. Why not?
Okay. So I get 2 enhancement to all of my first aids that I try to do.
All right. Go ahead and make a check for each of the people.
All right. First aid, I think the standard pool for that is intelligence and medicine, right?
I do believe so, yes. I'm just
Okay.
double checking that roll here. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll start with Shale.
Covered in blood and guts. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna be like, Shale, you're a mess.
Right. 4 successes for him.
Gonna
Excellent.
look
And what was
at
the
you, but like to the right.
what was the your highest wound condition?
I think it was not maimed yet. Injured.
And that's a what level? Level 2?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, excellent. You got 4 successes, you said?
4 successes for Shale.
Beautiful. All right, you are patched up to the point where you're basically healing as though you have one lower injury condition.
Oh, nice.
All right. You can knock one of those off. Nora, what are you at?
So I am one above maimed right now. I am.
So you're on your last injured track?
Yeah.
Okay. And we drop the die. That one explodes. 6 successes for Nora.
Excellent. Again, feeling as though you are one level lower.
And what's Sky's worst?
Injured.
Okay. 5 successes for Sky.
Beautiful. Yeah, you patch everyone up as best as you can. None of you are in danger of becoming further injured by not making your complications, and you're healing as though you have one lower level of damage.
I don't know if it's mechanical, but I feel like that clears out one of his short-term aspirations too, of patching people up at least once, right?
I believe that does, yeah. And we will go through and handle aspirations momentarily as we wrap things up and hand out some XP. So you wait. After about 12 hours, the horde starts to disperse. And you notice it takes them a extra long time because they're unable to break down the walls even from the inside. So they kind of like bump into the walls in here and wander through the houses. They drag out a couple of kids on their way out from inside the houses. But eventually, they leave. And you see the aftermath, the blood-soaked metal ground here. The bits of clothing and detritus that are left behind. And the diesel jock shop that has all of the gears and parts that you need. What would you like to do?
I think we should move in. I like this place.
It's gonna need a scrub down,
Yeah, Hubcap's
adds-
probably a goner anyways.
I think it adds.
but as a midpoint stop off, I mean,
All those people traveling through the overgrowth. Yeah.
right? Those caravans.
I mean, back when I was traveling with Ford, We did see some horrible stuff going on in here. Hordes as far as the eye could see. Giants in the water. This, cannibals. I think they might be worse than zombies. I will climb down out the silo. What is this silo holding? What is? I need to find out what's in the silo. What's in the silo? I look for whatever. What are they depositing in the silo?
It's full of grain.
What? They making beer? I'm gonna take some grain.
You get yourself a bag of grain.
This is the most normal thing here. What else is in the garage? Is there a car in there?
I was gonna say, is there like a vehicle in the garage?
There's no vehicles to speak of. The closest is the riding lawnmower that doesn't have a lawnmower blade on it anymore. But there's a surprising amount of like well-tuned equipment. There's farm equipment. There's the grinders and the and a small Jenny to run everything. I mean, this place looks like it's a functional community when they're not, in their throes of
purging.
cannibalism.
Yeah.
If we took some of the more important stuff here, we could probably get a pretty nice haul once we got back to civilization. Just saying.
Yeah. We could sell in the black market, make some quick money. Get it in the hands of people who need it.
I mean, this isn't illicit. It's a lawnmower. It's some gears.
People who shop in the black market need lawnmowers too. Just saying.
You're probably right. Yeah, I'll help loot the garage.
Yeah, let's grab what we can carry. I mean,
All right. You load yourselves up with as much as you can carry. If you want, you could. It's going to be a little harder, make it a little slower to get back to Hubcap, but you could load up like a wagon and pull.
Yeah, if we have a cart,
we
have a cart, we can load up all sorts. There's a pickup truck. So if there's something equivalent to the size of like a laundry cart.
Yeah, and then you can pull it there with the riding mower.
There you go.
How loud is the riding mower going to be if we try and pull it there with?
It's pretty loud regardless, so that is a concern. If you don't want to make noise, maybe it's better to just hand pull a cart. You won't be able to drag nearly as much, but
we'll bring the lawnmower though.
I thought we hand pull and keep it quiet. Don't get too greedy.
No,
maybe
we're greedy. I have scavenger. I have to be greedy.
Oh. Okay.
So you're gonna drive the mower, or are you gonna put it in neutral and try to push it through the overgrowth?
There you go. Yeah, let's take our time.
It takes you about another 12 hours to get back to
yeah,
back to where she's at, but you don't pull any zombies in the meantime. When you get back there, you see she's sitting on the hood of the car. Looks fine.
Are you a zombie?
Nope.
Cool.
No, it's the damnedest thing. I thought I was going to get overtaken by a horde. Then I heard some noise off in the distance, and they took off.
Yeah, that was Will.
As Will at the exact same moment goes, I wonder what that could have been.
Well, whatever it was, thank you much. I was about ready to start walking back to town. I was a little worried that you weren't coming back for me.
I leave my car here. I start putting all sorts of stuff in the trunk.
Well, we found a settlement of happy thrill murder people, and we're guessing they eat caravans that come through here. So I don't know if
mark this off as a place not to stop on the map.
I mean, they might not be a problem.
They're kind of all dead now. So there's kind of a vacant metal paved town up for grabs.
No kidding.
And a silo
Well
full of grain.
reinforced too.
Well, we could make some money on this.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, let's get this thing fixed up and talk about it on the road.
We stuffed the lawnmower into the back of the pickup truck.
Yeah, I mean, just back of the pickup truck. Yeah, no, this
Probably takes all of us.
yeah, lift it up there. I like to think that it, even with pushing it through the the overgrowth, it's still caked with mud and gore and viscera and stuff.
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
Right. Will just sort of looks at it for a minute and then turns to Nora. I might ride up front with you guys if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll see. Oh, go ahead.
I was actually thinking about riding with Sky. I've just, I got some words to share. So take my spot.
Okay.
They're not musical, they get no play. I'm just saying.
So yeah, I got aspirations to resolve here. Nora's going to start a little beef with Sky. It's nothing too serious, but she wants to stir the pot a little bit, blow off some steam. She's just got this irresistible urge to fight that she can't ignore. So I'd be like, Sky, I don't even have enough middle fingers to convey how I feel right now.
Go on.
Yeah,
Let it out.
I'm just gonna give him shit for the rest of the ride.
No, you're totally right. I had no business endangering our lives. I admit to everything. It's entirely my fault. But you know what? I learned a lot and I've grown. More than that, I feel like we've grown together. Bring it in. Bring it in.
With that string-in evening gown up, yeah, I could say I like you maybe like 15% more after that.
From where we
That
started,
was pretty dope.
that's like so many leaps and cannibal bounds forward.
On that bright, shiny note, that's where we'll wrap things up for the night.
Yes. So well done.
Any questions, comments, complaints, or concerns about tonight's session?
I thought she was about to kill me.
Loved it.
Oh, my cheeks hurt from laughing. Oh.
I thought they were gonna fast forward to the scene where they drive into town, right? And it's just Nora in my car for some reason.
What happened to Sky? Nobody knows.
Fell out of the car.
He ran off to adventure.
Alternate ending.
So
Death is the greatest adventure.
Director's cut.
So let's start with Nora. Did you achieve any short-term aspirations?
I did. So one of them was defend the party against an outside threat. I think, me taking all those blows, just,
definitely.
being in the middle of that horde. Yeah. And then I just want to make sure I ended that on the right note with Sky. And yeah. So
Excellent.
if you consider that getting into a fight, then.
That would be 2 experience that you gain for short-term aspirations. Then that brings us next to Shale. Did Shale achieve any of the short-term aspirations?
Sadly, no. All my plans to do shady shit in front of and behind the party's back did not come to fruition.
You did your best, though, and I appreciate the effort.
Again, I take full responsibility.
In your defense, we went in guns blazing.
Right,
so,
yeah.
There wasn't really room for
wasn't
shady
much
shit.
Yeah.
That is true. Once again, I
I didn't even have a gun or blaze. Okay.
I would like to commend you all on going an entire path I did not expect you to go in this adventure. I have stuff written for like how to quietly untie them and get away, and no, you're just like, let's just bring everybody out.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
There's a fight to be had. Will, did you? I know you achieved one of your aspirations, absolutely. So that's at least 1 XP. Did you achieve your other short-term aspirations?
Keep Shale out of trouble. I managed to not let the lawnmower fall on his head. I feel like that
count.
That's fair. You did, yeah. You saved him from.
He wasn't entirely unscathed, but he also didn't get crushed by landscaping equipment.
Yeah, so we'll allow it. So that's 2 XP for you as well for short terms.
Dope.
And any short-term aspirations that were achieved for Sky?
So while we were recovering, I did manage to mention Ford at least once during conversation.
Yep.
That is true.
And it's up to you as to whether or not you want to count the silo as a landmark. I don't know if it's like a national landmark or just a national landmark. I feel like it's going to be an important part of this area for the time being, for the foreseeable future.
Yeah,
so I think it's a landmark.
Yeah, you all actually created this new way station in the overgrowth. So that's a big
Well, on
deal.
my way to the long term.
Yeah.
Most famous.
You all may
explode.
have an experience point for spending at least half the momentum pool in a single scene because you ran out of momentum, which I think is the first time I've ever seen that happen. So, congratulations on that.
We
And
ran
you-
out and gained enough momentum to run out again.
And you reached a story milestone and completed a group story, so that's 4 more XP. So congratulations on all of your experience points. Ladies, gentlemen, and all points beyond and between, I would like to thank you all for being here, for checking this out, whether you're watching live or on the YouTube channel. I really appreciate you being here. This has been a riot to run. I hope that the players have had as much fun as I have because this has been a hoot. I do want to remind everyone that Dystopia Rising Evolution is sort of our featured game of the month, as this is the 10th anniversary of Onyx Path Publishing. So, as part of that celebration, right now it is 50% off in hardcover, as well as the story guide screen, which comes along with a neat little booklet on the world and all the charts you need to run the game. Both 50% off over at Studio 2 Publishing. I'm going to throw the link up in the chat. And yeah, I can't thank you enough for being here. Let's go ahead and have everybody tell us one last time who you are, what you do, who you've been playing, your pronouns, their pronouns, and anything you would like to promote. And this time we will start with Sky. Please give us your pertinent.
Yeah, my name is Alex, he, him. I was playing Sky Roads, also he, him. I'm a filthy casual who seems to be addicted to the sadistic practices of Travis Legge. And I continue to find myself under constant abuse, but having a great time doing all things Onyx Path. Spend all your money on all the Kickstarters because they keep making cool stuff, please. With me always,
there's a big Kickstarter coming next week too.
me always is Baxter, who I think is he, him. He doesn't really talk much, and he doesn't have any, cannibal testes to get beat on. So we're just gonna go with he, him.
Beautiful. And Baxter is beautiful. And Baxter has an Instagram.
Baxter has an Instagram, Baxter the best boy, with an I.
Nice.
So you should all go follow that because Baxter's adorable. Next up, Will, please give us all of your pertinent details.
So Jack, he, him, also playing Will Flores, he, him. I'm findable on Twitter at AltF4Gamers, and I mostly stream with the Final Show Films crew, who's at Final Show Films or twitch.tv/Final Show Films. We stream multiple times a week, mostly actual plays and stuff like this. We're going to be doing, as far as Onyx Path is concerned, running a Werewolf the Apocalypse Chronicle starting probably late March. But if you like D&D 5e and Star Wars in the meantime, that's what we've got on the docket for now. So stop by, take a look if you like. We're on YouTube and Twitch mostly.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And definitely do check that out. I'm looking forward to that werewolf stream myself. It's going to be a good time. And next up, that brings us to Shale. Please give us your pertinence.
Hi, so I am Shale, who just somehow got into way more trouble than he was anticipating this game. Did not expect that to happen, but sometimes shit happens. And I am Chaz, and when I am not researching, I do the DM, the storytelling thing. And speaking of which, I have a project in the works that's coming out fairly soon that may involve one or more people in this stream. So check it out. It's going to be about Scion, specifically Scion dragons, because dragons are great, and
Nice.
I want to do more dragons.
Love it. Love it. So yeah, definitely keep an eye on the schedule because that will be happening right here. And I can't wait to see it. I love watching you run, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And last but most certainly not least, that brings us to Nora. Please give us your pertinent details.
Yes, again, I'm Angie, pronouns she, her. I played Nora, also she, her, the mercenary. I love to talk about geek stuff on Twitter. My handle is at Doki Doki Angie. So chat me up if you so feel inclined to do that. I'm also a dice maker, and if you want to see lots of pretty dice, you can check them out at the Dicery on the socials. And yeah, it was a delight playing with you all tonight, kicking ass, killing zombies, taking names. It's a good time.
A lot of fun. Thank you so much for being here, and definitely check out Angie's Dice. They are beautiful, and I look forward to owning some soon.
Do you have any that don't roll ones ever?
That leaves us, I guess, with me. I am Travis Legge. He, him, or they are all fine. When I'm not running games here, I run them over on my channel as Plastic Age Plays, or I write them every now and again and develop them. Speaking of games I develop, keep an eye on the Monday meeting notes, because I do believe Lore of the Traditions is going to be our next Kickstarter, and I had the incredible joy of developing that for Mage 20th Anniversary Edition.
Nice.
One last time, I just want to remind you to head over and pick up Dystopia Rising Evolution while it's on sale over at Studio 2 in hardcover. You can also get it in PDF over at DriveThruRPG. We are also doing some sales at DriveThruRPG for supplements at like 10% of the cover price. So definitely check those out. I think the core book PDF goes on sale at the end of the New Game New Year sale, so like Tuesday. So definitely head over to DriveThruRPG if you prefer your digital products. That's the place to be, and get that. Check the game out. Have lots of fun torturing your players with zombie infestations, and yeah, we will be back here on the channel tomorrow. I believe, what time? 3 p.m. Eastern for Scion Godsend with the wonderful Gilbert Ramos as our story guide. So check that out. And if you haven't yet done so, please like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Get your shots. Take care of yourselves and each other. See you real soon. Bye.